Hello, 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 hello. There she goes. There she goes. The shortest stream. There she goes. Bye. Just kidding. I'm back. Even though that was a great stream. Okay. Oh shit. Bro, my internet. My internet has been so shitty. It was not working again, which is so fun. Love it. Yeah, I don't know why. Hannah YDN, thank you for the 4 months. Use after free, thank you for the prime. RJ, thank you for the 12 months. Life can't be too easy. I know. They always got to add in obstacles. How's the roommate? He's fine. He's honestly totally fine. Sometimes I think when you get a ban, it's not ideal, but when you've been working a lot and you can't make yourself take a break, then you get a forced break. Eric's, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Oh, Twitch just gave us an extra sub. I guess they're doing that. Yeah, that's cool. Did you like this product when you definitely used it for real? Bro, why is uBlock blocking everything? Dragon Army, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. And Twitch gave 4. So I guess they're giving, if I'm doing the math here, Twitch is giving 1 sub for every 5 subs. Yeah, that's math. Dragon Army, thank you so much. Oh, this topper of 17. 70. This is way fancier than anything I would have had at 17. I'm trying to even remember my 17th birthday. Britta B, thank you for the 2 months. I was a senior in high school. I'm sure it was very exciting. Wait, what the hell? Wait, I didn't even see this. Hi, it's me, Cheryl. Why am I everywhere? I saw people thinking it was AI. No, it's not. It's because I did a stock photo shoot 8 years ago. Cutie Cinderella, I'm coming for you. Let this be your warning. I am coming to unseat the queen of baking. Oh my God. I cannot. But how did you find this? I mean, I guess it's not that hard to find. These stock photos because they are everywhere. I'll show for those of you who missed it. So my friend sent me a screenshot in our group chat, and this was the screenshot. It was her friend, who I also went to college with, who had texted her. So I'm just sitting here Googling, trying to figure out what family to invite to a couple shower and the etiquette and whatnot. Clicked this link. And is this Kwan? And my friend sent this to me. I was like, and she said, honestly, I'm 50-50. So then I went to the link. And this is what the site is. Ask Cheryl. Hi, I'm Cheryl. Ask Cheryl. Aunts and cousins not invited to the bridal shower. And then here's the description of this photo. Portrait of a small business home catering owner, pastry, desserts, sweets, cake. I mean, I guess this is the SEO. Portrait, caterer, Asian woman, beautiful party, setup, decoration, mimosas, champagne. Cheryl Kwan. We need a Cheryl emote. Hi, I'm Cheryl. Ask me anything. Cheryl. Yeah, my full name is Cheryline. Anyway, I was fucking dying at this because haven't I talked about this before? Like every 6 months, I will get a text from someone and it will be a screenshot of one of these stock photos, either on a blog site like Ask Cheryl. By the way, let me find the website because there is a Cheryl. Ask Cheryl. Okay. Aunts and cousins not invited to bridal shower. Ron Stoppable, thank you for the bits. Azafel, thank you for the bits. Yeah, here it is. Oh! Sorry, that's different. I was also super confused when I saw this because my friend who sent it to me, her name is Kate, but we call her Kathy. That's like her Midwestern mom nickname. So I'm Cheryl and she's Kathy. Dear Kathy. Hi. But anyway, this is Cheryl. This is like the most Cheryl looking Cheryl. Cheryl Seidel. This is the most Cheryl looking Cheryl. Like you look up, if you were to look up Cheryl in the dictionary, this is the photo that you would see. Oh, look what they did to my face. I don't know why they did the weirdest. They did the weirdest editing. They basically took my face and went, yeah, I guess I was too ugly. So they made me uglier. That is really scary. I know. It is kind of uncanny valley. Yeah, I guess I didn't look white enough. True. How long ago was this? Dude, this was the first month that I moved to LA, so it would have been June of 2016, and I responded to an ad on Backstage, which is a website that actors use, and it was like calling for actors to do a photo shoot, and then in exchange you would get headshots. and I really needed headshots and I was broke. So I agreed to do it. It was like 8 hours and I didn't really know at the time. I mean, this is what happens. This is what happens with anyone who ends up as a stock photo. You just have no idea what you're signing up for. Luckily, it's not like I did porn or something, you know, not porn, but like, it's not as if I did something that then has haunted me later. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stock pictures with cakes and mimosas, and they weirdly edited my face. But anyway, so that's what happened is I did a series of different staged photo shoots. And now all these years later, they still pop up. Oh, look, you can modify with AI. That's fun. You consent it to that. Like, I don't even... Here's the thing, folks. You should really understand what you're signing. Just moral of the story. Just understand what you are signing. Because one, I didn't get paid. And so I didn't realize how much these photos would be used. And that they would have permission to edit me to look like a freaky alien. Jen, thank you for the 21 months. Yeah, they're cute photos. They're cute pictures. I just wish they hadn't edited my face so weirdly. But yeah, I guess it could have also been like stock photos. I don't know if I'm trying to think of a situation that 8 years later be haunted by having evil stock photos. Yeah, that me and Simu stock photo shoots. This is one of the funnier things that I've seen. Hi, I'm Cheryl. Ask me your questions. I am a small business home catering owner, pastry, desserts, sweets, cake, portrait caterer, Asian woman, beautiful party setup, decoration, mimosas, champagne. Did I just give you a different name? No, because there is a Cheryl. This is Cheryl's blog. Cheryl's picture is at the bottom. They just used my stock photo, but it looks like I'm Cheryl. Like it's just some some blog that has a stock photo of me. Could have been an ad for diarrhea medicine. Yeah, look, it can always be worse. It can always be worse. Where were you on January 6th, Cheryl? I was baking cakes. I was baking cakes for a group of patriots. So I'm Carolyn, and Cheryl. Cheryl is the most Midwestern mom-ass name, too. Hi, I'm Cheryl. I sent this to Sam and Cutie, and within 2 seconds... Sam had screenshotted she had screenshotted the picture and bought a poster. I sent them the link. I was like, hey, if anybody needs a laugh. And she, within 2 seconds, had screenshotted the photo and made a poster out of it and ordered it. Iowa's pride and joy. Clopez, thank you for the 25 months. You know what? We gotta laugh. I will say there have been some a couple instances of a picture, one of the stock photos of me being used to advertise oh God, what was it? It was something medical related. I don't think it was something embarrassing like hey, have IBS? Me too. But I've had screenshots sent to me before on advertisements in like the subway, on the train, in New York, Washington D.C., Chicago. It's all over the place. There's a huge stock photo of you on the side of a dentist office. Y'all, I'm kind of a big deal. I'm kind of famous. I'm all over this country. I swear to God it's you. I'm sure it is, because I had somebody else who said they saw me in a dental advertisement. Because that's the thing, is like stock photos are really cheap to use on an advertisement. So rather than do, an expensive photo shoot to get pictures, they'll just pay stock sites. It's very cheap. You're the number one stock photo girly in my eyes. Thanks. That's really what I set out to do when I moved to Los Angeles all these years ago. This is the pinnacle of my career. Ask Cheryl. Don't worry, AI photos will be cheaper and they'll stop using yours. Very reassuring. Do you know what episode of High Potential you're on? I said this yesterday. I don't know, because I did see that they're doing reshoots on the episode that I appeared in as a reporter. So I don't know when the heck it's coming out. Initially, it was supposed to be the second episode. Hey, Cheryl, saw you on Twitter. Just wanted to come and say hi. Well, hi. I'm Cheryl. Oh, what if I just say that all the time now? I'm like, hi, I'm Cheryl. Someone say emote. Oh, it's perfect. Hi, I'm Cheryl. It kills me that corporate video about jumping in elevators or something that used Germa screen stuff. OMG, I saw an ad on the subway for like fixing limp dick, and imagine if your stock photo was used or something like that. Yeah, and that's the thing. You have no control over your stock photos. And that is something that I've realized all these years later. I will probably be an old lady, and these photos are still popping up, and they made my face look so weird. Are you watching the new documentary of Vince McMahon? I haven't watched it yet. Also, y'all, I have another thing to show you. I have a surprise. It hath arrived. Okay. Here's the reveal. Isn't it amazing? Okay, now the question will be where it goes. Let's just kind of try this. I gonna put it there for now. I think that will look perfect. Isn't it beautiful? The tiny Farley teeth. I know. He's so handsome and perfect. No, I do think it's hilarious to have the portrait of Farley and I that does not include Will and have it above our bed. I know, he looks like a sophisticated little king. He's very bonita. How did he react to it? I don't know if he will. Let me grab him and see. Come here. Can I show you something? Okay. I'm going to show you something. What do you think? Look. See? Bonita? Look. What do you think? I think he loves it. What do you think? Yeah? Come here. Come here. Don't you look so handsome? So handsome. Come here. Come here. So bonita. What is the story on that portrait? So, what are you holding in your hand? It's a necklace. Here, I'll give one final look at it. So bonita. It's cute. Okay, so the story in the portrait is that I was I was a part of Point Crow's show at TwitchCon. It was a Deal or No Deal style show. And there was a grand prize for each person who participated, and it's supposed to be specifically tailored to them. And so, because I was the first person who confirmed to do the show, they had more time to work on my grand prize. And so they commissioned an artist whose name is Lysel. She was in chat last night. And she created this. And it's great. Hi. Come here. Oh, come, mommy. It's almost mommy's birthday, and all I want is love. Please, please, please. And come, please, please. I just want. Yes. Okay. 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 Ever since Farley was in Austin for a month with Will, he doesn't care about me anymore. I tried to take him on 2 walks today, and the first time, because Will was in our apartment still, he refused to walk with me. And then his afternoon walk, I started to take him out, and right when we left, Will got back from his meeting, and so Farley refused. He refused to walk with me. It's very sad. I know. It's been boys' time for the last month, and so he doesn't care about mommy anymore. Goosey Bell, happy birthday. Happy birthday. So he doesn't give a shit about me. He hates women. He hates women. And it's so sad. My little misogynist. Oop, I'm sorry, my lip gloss got on you. It's in his eyes. Look, you can tell. Look at his eyes. Those are woman-hating eyes. And I told him it's my birthday in a few days, and all I want is for you to love me. I just want love. Please. Let's pretend that your dad doesn't exist. All right. You may go. You may leave. I wasn't with him for his birthday. I know. Hi, I'm Cheryl. It's gonna fall right on top of me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to figure it out. Flat Stanley. All right, y'all. Okay. Incredible performance at the debate. Thanks. Thank you. Variety published early. I'm not even looking at these Oscar predictions yet. I haven't even had time to watch any movies. I really despise early Oscar predictions. I don't like it. It's like, give us a chance. Yeah, half the movies not even being available to the public yet. I know. I may end up taking stream off on Saturday. I'm not sure yet. And if I do, I'm going to try to watch The Substance on Saturday because I really want to see it in theaters. Lux Attack, thank you for the 13 months. And Asteroid Ninja, thank you for the 8 months. Early predictions, someone will win. I think that's a pretty sure prediction. Yeah, the Oscars are not for 6 months. And y'all know I love the Oscars race, okay? And when we get closer, I will be revving up once I start actually being able to watch some of these films and get excited. They included Timothy's Bob Dylan biopic. Yeah, a lot of times early Oscar predictions will be predictions for films that not even the predictors have seen yet because the film itself has not even premiered at like a film festival. They you know what it is? It's just people want to be first. They want to be first. They want to be like, I called that immediately after the film was announced that it was going into production, that it was going to be an Oscars contender. So that being said, I'm going to predict for the Oscars in 2026. 2 years. 2 years from now. About to see Megalopolis today. I hope you have nothing else on your schedule because that movie is it's going to be really long. They also have a lot of faith in Ridley, and I don't think Gladiator 2. I don't think it will either. I think it'll be fun. Like, I think I'll have a fun time. Last year, I made a list of all the Oscar movies so I could watch them and literally did not watch a single one. Nice. What about you spreading misinfo with the John Carpenter Reagan review? Okay, obviously John Carpenter is not on Letterboxd. That man is 1,000 years old. He's not on Letterboxd. I thought it was funny because it's clearly not John Carpenter, but then I guess people were believing that John Carpenter is actually on Letterboxd, writing all these scathing reviews. They're very funny, whoever it is. And so then there were... it was like the whole... You couldn't even have fun because then other people were like, this is not John Carpenter. Can't believe people don't know that. It's like, we're just trying to have fun. To be fair, he actually plays video games and tweets about them. Oh, I did not know that. I did not know he was very much that he was online at all. I mean, the review was still correct. Yeah, the review wasn't wrong. Anyway, look, we're just trying to have fun, okay? But speaking of not having fun, speaking of no fun, League of Legends. I mean, look, if you've been looking for an excuse to boycott this game, here you go. Here is your excuse. Now, to be fair, a strike against League of Legends does not mean that you're not supposed to play the game still. It's about performers not being able to work with League of Legends, not being able to do any continuing voice work. So this happened, I think this was Tuesday. Yeah, this was 2 days ago. Sag Aftra announced it was telling members to cease work for the multiplayer online game League of Legends after its producer, Formosa Interactive, tried to subvert the union's ongoing video game strike on an unnamed separate title. The union is responding by calling a work stoppage against League of Legends, a game that was not previously struck and is one of Formosa Interactive's most well-known projects. Formosa Interactive, an arm of post-production audio company Formosa Group, provides voiceover work for League of Legends according to the union. The union charges Formosa Interactive, a union signatory and one of the members of the bargaining group that's currently at loggerheads with the union over new interactive media agreement. So just a reminder that there is still a strike happening in against the major video game publishers. It's been going on for a couple months now. When the union pushed back against that request, okay, so yeah, Formosa is one of the groups that is currently in negotiations. When the union pushed back against the request to cancel a strike against one of the titles affected by the strike, the company attempted to circumvent Sag Aftra by attempting to hire non-union performers through a shell company for the same game. So very, very shady shit. The union filed an unfair labor practice against the company with the National Labor Relations Board on Tuesday. Sag Aftra charges that these serious actions are egregious violations of core tenets of labor law. That employers cannot interfere with performers' rights to form or join a union and cannot discriminate against union performers. Duncan Crabtree Ireland said in a statement, "It's bad enough that Formosa and other companies are refusing to agree to the fair AI terms that have been agreed to by the film, television, streaming, and music industries, as well as more than 90 other game developers. To commit illegal, unfair labor practices is beyond the pale and won't be tolerated. Formosa will be held accountable starting with an immediate strike of League of Legends." In a statement, Formosa replied and said, "We fully reject Sag Aftra's allegations and have not acted in any manner to undermine company or union rights, nor our relationship with the union." The company added, "We believe the strike of League of Legends, a game unrelated to the union's claims, is not appropriate. We stand with developers, publishers, platform holders, and talent to support global game development in a way that's safe and ethical for all." So again, you can still play League of Legends, so please don't go into any streamer's stream and be like, "You're a scab." Basically, a strike against League of Legends means any voice work going forward cannot take place. And even though obviously a lot of, the production of the game is done well in advance of a game, the game's release, there's a lot of ongoing voice work that still happens when they add in new characters, when they add in new storylines. So that is what they are targeting and have, by putting out a strike notice, informed union performers that you cannot do any work for League of Legends. But also, fuck League of Legends. All my homies hate League of Legends. Yeah, to be clear, you shouldn't be playing League anyways. Seek help. Seek help. League of Legends publisher Riot Games distanced itself from Sag Aftra's allegations in its own statement, noting that it has nothing to do with the complaint. The company added, "We want to be clear, since becoming a union project 5 years ago, League of Legends has only asked Formosa to engage with union performers in the US and has never once suggested doing otherwise." Cheryl. More than 2,500 video game performers went on strike in late July after nearly 2 years of negotiation with major video game companies. The big sticking point in the ongoing negotiations and why the strike was called is in relation to artificial intelligence, which has been the topic of conversation that has dominated the creative industries. And the difference with the video game publishers as compared to the major studios in Hollywood is that they refuse to even implement any basic AI language. They straight up were like, no. They said, we are not going to... Why are you asking me about an Armenian related event? Do you like can you please go along with the class? We're talking about the video game strike, and I feel like maybe you're someone who thinks that the Armenian genocide was either not real or justified, so I'm not going to take this bait. Seems like you're coming in here with an agenda to just shit all over the Armenian people and either justify or completely deny the atrocities that happened to them. So, yeah, not going to take that bait. Also, we're talking about something completely different. We're not even talking about politics right now. Well, we're not talking about like world politics. Hogan, thank you for the gifted to Off Topic. Yeah, love when people just come in here and be like, hey, why don't you talk about this? Cheryl doesn't get... Ask Cheryl. I will not answer a question unless you say, hey, Cheryl, I have a question for you. Dear Cheryl, ask Cheryl. Oh, you have Turkey in your title? Oh, because of Eric Adams. Here, chatter, wait to defend Turkey until we, at minimum, get to Eric Adams. Or, you know what? Talk to Cheryl. I don't know if you know who Cheryl is. Cheryl is my counterpart. She is available to answer all questions. So go look her up. Ask Cheryl. and she'll talk to you. Okay, so anyway, back to the strike against League of Legends. Back to the strike against League of Legends. We were talking about, just a reminder of the video game strike that is ongoing, why it's happening, mostly over AI and an absolute lack of any AI protections because the major video game publishers refuse to put in, basic minimum protections into this latest agreement, and how AI is an issue that the entire industry faces, but particularly video game performers, those who work, in mocap, those who are voicing characters for games. Okay. Anyway, okay, so we talked about Formosa. In the unfair labor charge is a little bit more details on the charge by Sag Aftra. Sag Aftra has alleged that Formosa transferred work to a company called Formosa Ocean Post, which is not signed to the interactive media agreement. So this is the shell company that they are calling out. Both Formosa Interactive LLC and Formosa Ocean Post are listed with the same mailing address in California's business directory. Formosa Interactive was filed for registration in 2013, while Formosa Ocean Post was filed in 2014. In addition to labeling the casting notices as non-union, Sag Aftra alleged that Formosa Interactive required in these casting notices overly broad confidentiality provisions. Riot Games, which develops League of Legends, is not involved in the dispute. Yeah, so essentially, they transferred to a shell company that then they put out casting notices through the shell company for non-union actors only to work on League of Legends. Where does League come in? League of Legends is developed and published by Riot Games, but outsources its voiceover work to Formosa Interactive like many other major companies. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Helldivers 2, God of War, Ragnarok, Dead Space, Death Stranding, and The Last of Us Part 2 are several other games that Formosa handled voiceover or sound design work for. League of Legends is one of Formosa Interactive's biggest ongoing games, and crucially a game that was not previously struck. Well, now they are. Ongoing live service games that entered production before August 25th were still okay for video game performers to work on, as are games by companies that independently signed the updated interactive media agreement. League, which was released well before August 25th, was still fair game until Tuesday. Boop, 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 boop. Notably, the League World Championship 2024 is slated to start on Wednesday. League of Legends Worlds are the pinnacle of the game's esports scene and will span London, Paris, and Berlin over more than a month. Voice actors are rarely involved in the event, but if any plans were made to include them, the actors would no longer be able to participate while abiding by the strike rules. All right. Well, that's the latest coming from the SAG Aftra video game strike is a strike against League of Legends, which means no future voice acting work or sound design work is to be done on League. Why do gaming companies do literally all the shitty things? Money. They also love to act as if they are an industry that is simultaneously incredibly flourishing, but also still tiny and small. And so expectations from performers who work in the industry need to be tempered, because we're just a itty witty bittle video game industry. Just, yeah, with companies like Riot, just small indie companies. Aren't they monetarily bigger than all other media forms now? Yes. Hold on a sec. Okay, let's take a look at a different story. Let's look at... We got some more updates. The Chapel Roan saga continues, and I'm about to mute Chapel Roan's name on Twitter, not because I am against my queen here, but because I'm so tired. I'm so tired of all the tweets and all the tweets of people who are condemning Chapel for not just having blind loyalty. Even after this latest update video of hers where she straight up says she's voting for Kamala. My God. And here's what's clear about Chapel. I think that she's genuinely affected by her comments being taken so bad faith, and the fact that all of these pop culture sites like Pop Crave and whatnot are just monetizing off of taking any Chapel quote from any interview. Because it's something I didn't mention when I first covered this, is that her quote where she was basically, talking about how she doesn't want to endorse someone because she sees problems on both sides and isn't comfortable putting her name on one. That was after the Biden-Trump debate, when if you were still supporting Biden, you were smoking crack. And anyway, that was the quote from an interview, and Pop Crave, knowing exactly what they're doing by taking that quote and running it as if Chapel had just said that, and providing no, surrounding context to when she said it and why she said it. And so this just keeps happening, and it's like, it's a lot of people are doing the whole, when you're in a complaint off and your opponent is Chapel, and to that I say, you are falling for this endless clickbait. You are falling for all of these pop culture outlets who are the ones that are, creating this nonstop conversation around Chapel, because they just keep posting a quote of hers from from something that's not even recent, and then sitting back and watching the internet burn down. So that's one thing that's just been incredibly obnoxious to witness, and how people just keep falling hook, line, and sinker for it, and think that Chapel herself is someone who just won't shut the fuck up and, keeps wanting to get, keeps saying things for attention, and just could not be further from the truth. Keep saying that she needs to have like a PR team. And it's interesting because simultaneously people want celebrities to be more authentic and off the cuff and not have their every statement manufactured by a very shiny, fancy PR company in Beverly Hills. But then when Chapel is actually somebody who does that, they hate her. They loathe her. It's like they want people to speak out, but also shut up. Right. And I'll just keep saying it. You'll never make me hate Chapel. But anyway, so this is the video from 2 days ago. Chapel Roan clarifies her stance, and then this is the follow-up video, because I do think that she is very affected by how horribly people have taken her very not hard to understand statements, and she's been pretty damn clear on what her morals are, what her beliefs are as a woman, as a queer, as a queer artist. And I think the only advice, Chapel, if you're listening, the advice that I would give to her is you won't please these people. You will not make them happy, because they've already made up their minds, and all they want from you is undying loyalty for Blue Dogs. That is all that they want. And so if you are not doing that, then they will hate you, and they will talk about how much they hate you online. So I feel like she just has to keep doing what she's doing, keep being, an outspoken and talented queen, and recognize that there is not going to be any, there's no productive discourse with the legions of weirdos online who, like this guy, oh my God. This isn't a grown-ass man. This is a grown-ass man. You know what? Take TikTok away from him, please. Please.
Obviously, fuck the policies of the right.
All right, we're on the same page on that one.
Like, apparently this guy is an anesthesiologist. Like, is he just in his office here? Dr. Zeke Taylor? Bro, if your anesthesiologist is cutting together takedown videos of Chapel Roan, get a new anesthesiologist. Yeah, he's just like got a patient on the table in surgery who's dying. Yeah, this is the guy that I want to hear speak on Chapel Roan. Exactly the demographic for who I want to hear give an opinion on Chapel.
All right, we're on the same page on that one.
But also, fuck some of the policies on the left.
Oh, now you lost me.
That's why I can't...
Yeah, see. Oh, now you lost me. That is a guy who is a stooge. He is a soldier. He is a soldier for the blue. And that is a lot of people who are angered by what Chapel has to say. And so rather than actually engaging with what she has to say, because she's also not blindly, supporting the Democratic Party, then they're putting together these like gotchas. Ooh, we gotcha. There is no gotcha. There is no gotcha.
Like, put my entire name and my entire project behind one.
I mean, that's kind of how voting works right now in America.
So, yeah, I'm voting for fucking Kamala.
Like, okay, so let me just go to the here's
I just woke
the original
up.
video, because I don't feel like watching Mr. Dr. Anesthesiologist's takedown of Chapel.
And to, like, people just skewing it even more, endorsing and voting are completely different. I don't agree with a lot of what is going on.
It is also, I think the Chapel Roan situation is the pinnacle of obsessiveness with celebrities in politics, because you've got like a Mindy Kaling appearing twice at the DNC, because Taylor Swift gave her endorsement of Kamala Harris. This is now everybody who's turned on, who's one of the most popular, current most popular pop artists, somebody who blew the fuck up overnight, who has dominated so much of pop culture. And they've like brought out the pitchforks and the torches for her if she does not endorse a political candidate. And she's correct in saying, like, endorsing and voting is not the same thing. And also, I don't think this is something where, like, we should be having, like, there should be an expectation on celebrities to endorse political candidates.
With like policies, like obviously fuck the policies of the right, but also fuck some of the policies on the left. That's why I can't endorse. That's why I can't like put my entire name and my entire project behind one. Because there is no way I can stand behind some of the left's completely transphobic and completely genocidal views. So yeah, there are huge problems on both. You know what is right.
It's really not that hard to understand what she's saying. Like, it's not that complicated, especially if you have actually followed Chapel, if you've been a fan of hers, if you like know what she has stood for and how outspoken she has been regarding her stance on civil rights and, you know, human liberties. It's really not hard. Like, no, of course she's not a fucking Republican, but that is how it goes now, where if you do not have undying loyalty for the Democratic Party, if you dare to criticize Kamala Harris and the Democrats, then you are now a Republican.
And wrong. And so do I. Fuck Trump for fucking real, but fuck some of the shit that has gone down.
Right, like, it's a no-brainer, fuck Trump, right? A no-brainer, fuck Trump. If you are somebody who believes in trans rights, if you believe in, you know, if like all the things that Chapel believes in, it's obvious, fuck Trump. Like, that is I guess that has to explicitly be said. If you are offering any criticism for the Democrats, you have to, you have to always then include, oh, and by the way, fuck Trump, because otherwise then you'll be accused of being a Trump lover.
The Democratic Party that has failed people like me and you. And more so, Palestine. And more so, every marginalized community in the world. So no, I'm not gonna settle for what the options that are in front of me. And you're not gonna make me feel bad for that. So yeah, I'm voting for fucking Kamala.
Yeah, and then of course they zeroed in on that, and they're like, wow, she is a Republican. She pronounces her name like Republicans do, while ignoring the fact that she gave them what they want to hear, that she's voting for Kamala. She literally just said, yeah, I'm fucking voting for Kamala, which is what the pitchfork torch holding, you know, blue MAGA cultists have been demanding. And it's still not enough. It's still not enough, because all they want from her and all they want from their celebrities in, you know, beautiful liberal Hollywood is for them to say, I'm supporting Kamala Harris. I'm supporting whatever Democrat it is. No ifs, ands, or buts. No demands made. No criticism here. You won't hear any of that from me. They just want blind support.
But I'm not settling for what has been offered, because that's questionable. It's questionable that our actions of our government, the actions of the internet, the actions of you and me. If this is what you are not understanding, you know what? Endorsing someone, if someone is publicly...
Let me just be clear too. Okay, obviously, you know, it's good to get people's names correct. I have heard countless liberals also mess up and say Kamala. I don't think that is a sure signifier of somebody who is a diehard MAGA supporter and, you know, secret Republican. Yeah, people all over the fucking place have mispronounced her name because of how often it is mispronounced in mainstream media. Yeah, and yet they, of course, like Olivia Juliana and other dumbasses. Man, so young to have sold her soul. So young. What a shame. How can you be that young and be such a corporate stooge? How do you say it? If you picture it as comma la, like in your head, if you have a hard time, like if it's easy to visualize something as a way to remember pronunciation, COMMA, like comma la. And the often mispronunciation that people use is Kamala. Or sorry, it's Kamala. Like they put the emphasis on the ma, and it's Kamala. I'm pretty sure the people saying she's saying it wrong aren't even saying it right. Yeah, no, these are people who like probably had no problem when Joe Biden was mispronouncing Kamala's name. For a lot of people down here in Alabama, pronounce it Kamala. Yeah, accents and dialects will also affect the pronunciation. But anyway, the point being is that it's just another bad faith attack on her of trying to prove that she's secretly a Republican, which is insane. Those are people who take more offense with someone mispronouncing an uncommon name than they do a genocide. Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that Blue MAGA are raging about other than a genocide. Like they've got a lot of rage and a lot of time on their hands to rage. And I think that I think they should direct their rage to the genocide that is happening, and that people like Chappell have called out the current Democratic administration for facilitating, for having a massive hand in. But that's just me.
Endorsing a political figure, that doesn't even mean that they're gonna fucking vote for them. Because as I said in my other video, actions speak louder than words. And I'm not going to let this narrative of like me not playing.
Right. Actions speak louder than words, but not to the crowd who's coming after her. They don't care. They don't care that Taylor Swift has never said anything about Palestine. They just want her to have endorsed Kamala, and that's exactly what she did. And so that's why they're saying that like Chappell is 1,000 times worse than Taylor hugging Brittany Mahomes and blah blah blah. They don't care about action. They don't care about how Chappell has shown over and over again that she is morally consistent through her actions, whether that be not refusing to go to the White House because she didn't want to be a monkey for pride, and she does not agree with the White House's current policies regarding Israel. She is donated and fundraised for trans rights orgs as well as Palestine. And so she's demonstrated repeatedly that she has taken action to back up what she believes in and what she has said with her words.
Playing both sides? No. This is not me playing both sides. This is me questioning both sides because this is what we have in front of us. So if you look at my statement and you're still like, she's just playing both sides, like she doesn't want to. No, you're not getting it.
And to that, I say, Chappell girly, they don't get it because they don't want to get it. They have no interest in approaching democracy and in approaching politics the way that someone like she does. they have no interest in that. And so there is literally no use in trying to, in putting out a TikTok to try and get those people to see what you're talking about. Yeah, they treat it like team sports, and you're either on the team and you're on the team as a diehard, or you're not on the team, and they do not see you as on the team.
I'm critiquing both sides because they're both so fucked up. Voting is all we have right now in the system. And so I encourage it yet again. Vote for who, in your mind, is the best option for what we have right now.
She's like, I'm not telling you who to vote for or not to vote for. I literally just said, no, I'm not going to throw my endorsement to Kamala. That's it. That's all. She's too far to the right of where I am to be comfortable endorsing her. And I'm not comfortable with, the Biden-Harris fascistic policies and how Kamala Harris will be a continuation of that. Like that, it's not hard to understand what she's saying, as long as you actually know like who Chapel is, and as long as you are not somebody who is a blind loyalist and believes that politics is about team sports, and that you should accept the bare minimum, that the bar is so fucking low, but that's the bar, and how dare you try and raise it? Like, how dare you try and make any demands of your politicians? How dare you exercise your right to critique said politicians who, as a reminder, are public servants and are voted in to represent the will and the interests of the people. And if they are not doing that, then they do not deserve to be, to be in their political positions. But that's the difference here. That is the difference here, and why it's, and why the whole like we just have to win no matter what. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Donald Trump is the most dangerous individual. All of that rhetoric, which has been used for the last 8 years, and for many voters in this country, is enough. Like it's satisfactory. Just the singular goal of beating Donald Trump and nothing else.
Because it's all we can do. And I hope this makes it clear that no, I'm not picking the sides of what we have right now. Yes, one's obviously better than the other. But Jesus fucking Christ, I hope you don't settle for what we have and put your name behind someone that you don't fully trust because of their blatant actions.
It's frustrating that establishment Dems keep acting like they want progressive votes, and any demands are unreasonable, but they aren't even willing to change their rhetoric to appeal to those voters, letting reps run the table on national discourse with things like immigration, crime. Oh yeah, no, it's compromise, but it's always compromising with the right. It's never compromising with the left. It's never compromising with progressives. And one thing to keep in mind, like a major reason that Medicare for all, a public option, isn't even in the conversation, that serious climate reform isn't in the conversation, that a far right agenda in concerns to like the border. This is because we don't have a Bernie Sanders in the running like we did in 2020. And why a lot of the other Democratic candidates, such as Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, why they were, much seemingly more to the left than they are now, is because, I know this pause here, this is a vibe, is because there's no pressure. Is because they're not having to compete with somebody popular, somebody whose policies were extremely popular and who was leading in the primary like a Bernie Sanders was. It's like she's doing what Tracy did in 30 God, I miss this show. What a perfect show. Oh yes, we'll take a look at Ethel Kane's comments. Mother Kane has appeared, and the shit libs will be losing their minds. Chapel is right though. Like, y'all cannot be stupid enough to scream fuck Israel all year, rightfully so, and then go happily vote for Kamala and meme the fuck out of her like everybody did Trump. Like, she didn't just get right up on that debate stage and say Israel has the right to blow the entire Levant to smithereens. Do not piss me off. Honestly, I'm scared of Mother Kane. Do not piss off Mother Kane. And the fact that even slight criticism of Kamala, the public servant we're expected to elect as the president of our country, as the progressive option, is seen as immediate unwavering support of Trump. Y'all cannot actually be this stupid. I don't want to believe it. I don't know who this is, but I like her. This is the same Mother Kane who tweeted about bringing back presidential assassinations. This is before the Trump shit, and it was not about Trump. This was not in regards to Trump. So anyway, what I would say is, as far as people who have been screaming, criticizing Israel for the last year, I don't think those are the ones who are coming after Chapel's statements. Ethel Kane addresses Joe Biden's support for the Israeli military. We need to bring back assassinations. Yeah. And for the sake of my FBI agent who is in this community, he hasn't been here in like a week or so, but he's always around. I am just presenting that as something that Ethel Kane had said so I can give you some context. So many Reddit subs who were super pro-Palestine calling out Zionist celebs have been shit-talking Chapel, and it's like, oh, wow, I guess you just called out Zionist shit when a celeb's not on your side. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously super hypocritical. I guess I'm looking at the accounts that mainly have been tweeting nonstop about Chapel and have been getting a lot of engagement. If you search what they have to say about Palestine and Israel, it's either they have nothing to say or they are staunch supporters of Israel. And so that's why I'm like, okay, there's, a swath of people online who are, Israel dick riders. And of course they're gonna shit on Chapel Roan because they know that she is not, and she is the opposite. Anyway, I think what this whole nonstop shitstorm has revealed is, one, people's obsession with celebrities and how they get all tied up in knots if a major celebrity does not endorse who they are voting for. And again, endorsement is not the same as voting. And also how there are so many liberals who don't even believe that something like genocide is cause for criticism, that winning is the most important thing. And I don't want to believe that every single person denies the genocide and denies the horrific situation in Gaza. But what I do think is true is that they, one, don't have any lines. There are no lines that are drawn in the sand. And two, do not believe that one of the most extreme acts against humanity merits any criticism for the administration that is currently sanctioning it. Time to get Chappell on the show. Y'all, you know I would shit myself. Yeah. What I'm just, you know what? I'm just gonna call her up. I'm gonna be like, hey, wanna chat? Wanna talk? It would, you know what it would be? It would be, Dragon Army, thank you for another 20 gifted subs. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe Chappell, if she happens to be browsing Twitch, maybe my stream will pop up because we've we've got a hype train. Hi, Chappell. If you happen to be on Twitch, what's up? If my stream happens to pop up, hi, open invitation. Pog, Twitch is still doing it. You get 1 extra sub per 5 subs. That time they gave 7 extra. Okay, so they're just kind of random, but thanks Twitch for the subs. Shred, thank you for the 15 months. Dawn, thank you for the 25 months. And Chloe, thank you for the 12 months. Toadoy, thank you for the tier 1. Katie, thank you for the gifted sub. Anyway, it would just be a back and forth of me and Chappell being like, yes, exactly. Duh. Hello. Hello, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, let's do some Eric Adams coverage. Talked about this briefly last night, but more has come out today as the indictment was unsealed. And it turns out that you could buy Eric Adams' loyalty for some business class plane tickets and a couple nice hotel stays. It's really it's amazing with politicians like Eric Adams where it's not doesn't cost that much. It does not cost that much to buy their to buy their office, to buy their power. And Zins. Yeah, if you give him enough Zins, he will also agree to whatever your asks are. So we got a real pay-to-play, a classic pay-to-play situation. And it's one of those where
the mayor had a duty to
it's one of those where there are obviously a lot of jokes to be had because Eric Adams himself is just a fucking clown. And every clip of him is quite possibly the stupidest thing that you've ever heard anybody say ever. And he's laughing stock in his own right. But it's also fuck Eric Adams because this man has been horrible for New York City. I mean, he has been worse than de Blasio. And his war on the homeless, a grave and dire situation in New York City. There are currently the levels of homelessness in New York City are the highest they've been since the Great Depression. And what Eric Adams has done is to crack down and criminalize the homeless in New York City. He has filled hellholes like Rikers and, made the already unbearable conditions in there even worse. He has done things like block really important bills that would that would cut down on the maximum amount of solitary confinement at a place like Rikers. He has greatly slashed and defunded public works. He's gone after the libraries, all while he was siphoning, all while he was stealing millions in public funds. So it's not just like, haha, Eric Adams, what a dumbass. It's also, fuck Eric Adams. This man has deserved to go down for the last decade. The fact that he has been under federal investigation for almost his entire tenure as mayor, and that he welcomed his power in being the mayor of New York City because of what lavish perks that would bring him, which includes business class plane tickets to Turkey. Okay, so let's take a look at the indictment and all. He was charged on 5 counts that include, the likes of wire fraud and bribery. And as a reminder, Eric Adams, who couldn't stop talking about foreign outside agents when it came to the pro-Palestinian protests that were taking place on college campuses in New York. And I guess it would take one to know one. I guess it would take a foreign agent to know foreign agents.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Kara Phillips. We are coming on the air now with more political scandal erupting in New York City. Federal authorities in Southern District
Did you watch
of New
Penguin?
York
Yeah, it's so
coming
good.
before the cameras now to reveal the charges. Let's get straight to the presser.
Conspiracy in which he solicited and knowingly accepted illegal campaign contributions from foreign donors and corporations. As we allege, Mayor Adams took these contributions even though he knew they were illegal. And even though he knew these contributions were attempts by a Turkish government official.
Let's just be clear. It's not just that Eric Adams took those contributions even though he knew them to be illegal. He pursued a political career so that he could do corruption. That is a man who sought power so that he could use his power to personally benefit himself. That is not someone who got into politics for the right reasons and then, along the way was corrupted. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. No, this is a man who was like, how do I do crimes and get away with it? How can I take bribes? How can I get money and other, nice things? Oh, politics. Didn't he recently talk negatively about immigrants coming to the state? I mean, yeah, he has been so anti-immigrant. He has been, he has really, really brought hell upon the homeless in New York City. He has been so violently and aggressively anti-homeless. I mean, after Jordan Neely was killed, do you remember when he was initially asked, like, is this justified? Like, or, he was being asked, was this wrong? And his initial statements did not condemn the murder of Jordan Neely. That is the mayor of New York City who was essentially sending the message that if you are homeless, if you are suffering from, from cruel and inhumane policies of the city that you reside in, that is a moral failing. If you are homeless because housing costs have skyrocketed so greatly and public funding, social programs are just slashed year after year, and there is, there's not enough help for, not enough help for somebody in a dire situation, you deserve to be killed. That's how it goes. You are not human. Eric Adams compared the he compared the homeless in New York City to he compared them to a cancerous tumor. So that's how Eric Adams views views one of the most vulnerable and increasing populations in New York City.
And Turkish businessmen to buy influence with him. We also allege that the mayor sought and accepted well over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits from some of the same foreign actors who arranged many of the illegal campaign contributions. These benefits included free international business class flights and opulent hotel rooms in foreign cities. The mayor had a duty to disclose these gifts on his annual public disclosure forms so that the public could see who was giving him what. But as we allege, year after year after year.
What would happen if Kathy Hochul didn't remove Eric Adams from power with the evidence adding up against him? I mean, it will look very bad on her. She so far hasn't said anything. I don't know if that has changed since I was taking a look earlier this afternoon. It will look as if, as the charges against him, as this all plays out, it will be certainly a very bad look for Kathy, for Chuck, for, the other Dems who have not said anything yet.
He kept the public in the dark. He told the public he received no gifts, even though he was secretly being showered with them. We allege that Adams accepted these benefits knowing that they were given to him because of his position. And in exchange for some of those improper benefits, he intervened in the New York City Fire Department's inspection process for a building owned and operated by the Turkish government, allowing it to open even though it had not passed the fire inspection. The corruption alleged in the indictment is, as I said, long-running. As we allege in the indictment, Adams' solicitation of illegal campaign contributions began in 2018. After he started raising funds for his 2021 mayoral campaign, he agreed to take contributions offered by multiple Turkish businessmen, several of whom he met in Turkey. Adams.
Serious question. Where does the mayor of New York need to go that requires this much international travel? Was this all holidays? Why so much vacation? I mean, he was literally traveling on Turkey's dime. He traveled not just to and from Turkey, but all over the world. He stayed at opulent hotels. He enjoyed, very, very pricey meals. He was just living the high life. I think some of these trips, were arguably him doing business. But the point of all that travel was to take advantage of his very cozy relationship with Turkey, the pay-to-play relationship that they had, so that he got to travel the world because his sugar daddy, Turkey, was footing the bill.
Knew that these wealthy individuals could not legally donate in a U.S. election. Federal law clearly prohibits.
He wanted to go to Easter Island, and he asked them if he could go there, and Turkish Airlines does not have a route there. They had to be like, no, we can't send you there. So basically, if he wanted to go somewhere, he would check with Turkey and be like, can I get a flight?
It's foreign donations. That's how we protect our elections from foreign influence.
Yes.
Yet Adams directed his staff to pursue this illegal money to support his campaign for mayor. And as we allege, Adams continued to pursue foreign money in secret well into 2021. And it didn't stop with his first campaign for mayor. As we allege, in 2023, the mayor rekindled these corrupt relationships, seeking more illegal campaign contributions from some of the same foreign sources to support his re-election campaign. Adams also took contributions that broke other laws. As we allege, he sought contributions from businessmen far in excess of what the law allowed. He also allegedly sought contributions from corporations, which are not allowed to contribute at all in New York City elections.
Okay, chatter. Where does Turkey come into the picture? Here we go villainizing another country. Good job. What are you talking about? Are you not listening? Are you not paying attention to the fact that Eric Adams, the fucking mayor of New York City, has been indicted on federal criminal charges that largely stem from his accepting bribes, his pay-to-play schemes with Turkish government officials and other wealthy business people. There are text messages between him and his Turkish connections where they are literally point blank talking about the pay to play nature of their relationship. Aggressive as fuck. Calm down. I'm sorry, but sometimes when someone is so stupid, it sets me off. I am usually very calm, but there is the rare occasion that the stupidity is just slams me in the face. So consider yourself special, because it takes a lot for me to raise my voice like this. It is an indicator of how dumb your first couple of chat comments were that I had to raise. Oh yeah, we got Erdogan in chat. Yeah, see, I'm getting an emergency alert. I'm getting an emergency alert because of how much that just broke me. Because sometimes chatters come in here and it's just a little too stupid to be calm about.
Those illegal corporate contributions were organized by the same people who organized the illegal foreign contributions.
Is this the Turkish official who was in charge of bribing Adams? Is that who that chatter is?
And Adams allegedly disguised them all in the same way by accepting the money through so-called straw.
Also, the last thing that I'm going to say, if you are a person who blindly defends a country, any country, there is no room for said country to have done anything wrong in your eyes. I don't know where in life you went wrong. I don't know where in life you went wrong, but that is insane. That's fucking crazy to just die on the hill of I will support this country wholeheartedly and just be a nationalist through and through. And so how dare you mention the country that I am giving my life online to defend. How dare you mention them in a story of the current mayor of New York City being indicted on federal criminal charges as it relates to his relationships with officials from said country
Donors
who used their influence on him. And it is well evidenced.
A straw donor contributes someone else's money, hiding the money's illegal source, such as a foreign businessman, a corporation, or a wealthy New Yorker who has already contributed the maximum amount allowed. And as we allege, Adams circumvented all of these laws, taking contributions from exactly the sources the law prohibits, all to benefit his mayoral campaigns. Now, Adams also personally benefited from the illegal conduct alleged in the indictment. Adams solicited and accepted over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits for years from wealthy Turkish business people and at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence over him. Adams started accepting undisclosed luxury travel benefits at least as early as 2016. He took these benefits nearly every year through 2021. Here are some of the benefits that we uncovered
Dude
during
was
our
hustling.
investigation. In 2016, Adams flew to India through Turkey and received 2 free round-trip upgrades for business class seats. That's the highest class on Turkey's national airline. Those upgrades were worth more than $12,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2017, Adams accepted free business class tickets for himself and his travel companions to France, Turkey, and China.
Like we said yesterday, Istanbul is, in Eric Adams' own words, Istanbul is the New York of the United States of America. So it's possible his own words confused him. And, he wasn't intentionally taking bribes and allowing himself to be influenced by Turkish officials, because he really thought what he was doing was just all American. I mean, honestly, being a politician who's corrupt, yeah, it's as American as it gets. Here's the estimated cost of each trip. Prosecutors allege Mayor Adams got illegal foreign campaign contributions plus more than $124,000 in flights and travel benefits. He just really wanted that business class experience. In return, he asked the FDNY for leniency on inspecting the Turkish consulate and didn't release a statement on Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day. Yeah, there are text messages that prove as such where he was explicitly told not to release a statement on Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day. And he was like, yeah, no problem. Gotcha, boss. Not a problem. Keep the business class trips flowing. I think I have a whole here. Let's finish this. Here, actually. Let's look at this. Okay, here are 11 of the biggest parts. The 11 of the biggest parts of the indictment. Does that sentence make sense? 11 biggest parts of the indictment. Number 1, first stop is always Istanbul. Because the Turkish airline provided free travel benefits worth tens of thousands of dollars to Eric Adams, this is directly from the indictment. The defendant, he flew the Turkish airline even when doing so was otherwise inconvenient. For example, during the July and August 2017 trip, Adams' partner was surprised to learn that Adams was in Turkey when she had understood him to be flying from New York to France. Look, I've been to Istanbul. Istanbul is beautiful. It's a great place. Adams responded in a text message, transferring here. First stop is always Istanbul. This man just loves New York so much. That's why he went to Istanbul. That's why Istanbul was always the first stop. When Adams' partner later inquired about planning a trip to Easter Island, Chile, Adams repeatedly asked her whether the Turkish airline could be used for their flights, requiring her to call the Turkish airline to confirm that they did not have routes between New York and Chile. Number 2, the tickets were complimentary. For example, on November 25th, 2017, Adams sent an email to the Adams scheduler saying that with respect to the July trip, meaning the July and August 2017 trip on the Turkish airline, I left you the money for the international airline in an envelope in your top desk drawer. Please send it to them. Given the cost of the international business class tickets for Adams alone, Adams' email suggested that he left, at a minimum, well over $10,000 in cash in the Adams scheduler's desk drawer to send to the Turkish airline as payment for flights taken months earlier. He did not do that, as records from the Turkish airline confirm that Adams did not pay the airline in cash or otherwise because the tickets were complimentary. 3, they might cause a big stink later on. On June 22nd, 2018, the Adams staffer and the promoter discussed by text message a possible trip by Adams to Turkey. The promoter, I couldn't stop laughing that the indictment kept referring to his contact as the promoter. The promoter stated in part, fundraising in Turkey is not legal, but I think I can raise money for your campaign off the record. The Adams staffer inquired, how will Adams declare that money here? The promoter responded, he won't declare. They're having to ask how to do something that's not legal. They're like, wait, so how do we do that? Okay, cool. Just tell us what to do. The promoter responded, he won't declare it, or will make the donation through an American citizen in the U.S., a Turk. I'll give cash to him in Turkey, or I'll send it to an American. He will make a donation to you. The Adams staffer replied, I think he wouldn't get involved in such games. They might cause a big stink later on, but I'll ask anyways. Bro, do you know who you work for? The Adams staffer then asked, how much do you think would come from you? The promoter responded, max 100K. The Adams staffer wrote, 100K? Do you have a chance to transfer that here? We can't do it while Eric's in Turkey. To which the promoter replied, let's think. After this conversation, the Adams staffer asked Adams whether the Adams staffer should pursue the unlawful foreign contributions offered by the promoter. And contrary to the Adams staffer's expectations, Adams directed that the Adams staffer pursue the promoter's illegal scheme. I am so shocked. I am so surprised that Eric Adams was like, yes, let's do it. Adams might one day be the president. Adams also solicited unlawful foreign campaign contributions while in Istanbul in January 2019. During Adams' trip, the promoter arranged for Adams to meet a wealthy Turkish businessman. The Turkish official, through the Adams staffer, discouraged Adams from meeting businessman 3, who was then under suspicion of wrongdoing. Adams did so nonetheless. During their meeting, Adams and the promoter solicited campaign contributions from businessman 3, who as a Turkish national could not lawfully contribute to any U.S. campaign. During the meeting, businessman 3 agreed to contribute $50,000 or more to the 2021 campaign, believing that Adams might one day be the president of the United States and hoping to gain influence with Adams. I mean, to be fair, if you read any fucking, anything in the New York Times or, all these other mainstream outlets where you had plenty of the, dumbest political people writing articles on how Adams is the future of the Democratic Party and how he looks like a serious contender for becoming president one day, then I guess that you would think that is a possibility. Can you imagine? Wait, y'all. Can you imagine that this businessman read Nate Silver's tweets, that Nate Silver is a reason why businessman 3 was like, I think Eric Adams could become president of the United States. Like, that was one of the tweets that he used to inform his decision to unlawfully contribute to Adams' campaign. Another victim of the liberal fake news media. By Furious Siren, thank you for the 7 months. Failed Debutante, thank you for the 16 months. Okay, this is one of my favorites because this is the most Eric Adams thing of all time. Number 5, please delete all messages. In March 2019, while exchanging text messages to plan another possible trip to Turkey, in which the airline manager would arrange travel for Adams, the Adams staffer texted Adams, to be on the safe side, please delete all messages you send me. Adams responded, always do. No, he doesn't. No, he does not. Adams does not always delete text messages to be on the safe side, because that's Eric Adams. Remember I said yesterday, I was like, one thing that is going to be a sure thing when the indictment is unsealed is that Eric Adams will be revealed to be just as stupid in his criminal activity as we would have expected him to be. Yeah, even if you delete them, the phone company can recover them. But the thing is he didn't delete them all too. Number 6, a Turkey official personally paying attention. After Adams was elected mayor, the promoter also celebrated Adams' prospects with additional people, telling others, including Adams himself, that Adams would soon be president of the United States. Similarly, the Turkish official wrote to the Adams staffer that given Adams' increasing prominence, at this point, the foreign minister of Turkey is personally paying attention to him, and Adams should not bother with his other Turkish benefactors. He's like, this is your daddy. Don't worry about anybody else. We're going to take care of you. Number 7, why does he care? He's not going to pay. This is my another favorite part of mine, where it's giving rupee car. At Adams' direction, the Adams staffer also coordinated luxury lodging for Adams and Adams' partner, which would be secretly provided at no cost to Adams, as the Adams staffer and the airline manager discussed. Adams staffer, he's also asking where they can go in Turkey. Do you have a recommendation? Airline manager, 4 Seasons. Adams staffer, it's too expensive. Airline manager, why does he care? He is not going to pay. His name will not be on anything either. Adams staffer, super. Number 8, his turn to support Turkey. On or about September 5th, 2021, the Turkish official began asking Adams both directly and through the Adams staffer to intervene with the commissioner of the FDNY to secure a temporary certificate of occupancy for the Turkish government's Turkish house. Adams, the Turkish official, and the Adams staffer discussed these requests through phone calls and electronic messages. In a phone call to the Adams staffer, the Turkish official stated that because Turkey had supported Adams, it was now, quote, his turn to support Turkey. Pay to play. The Adams staffer relayed this message to Adams, and Adams responded, I know. He's like, I'm not a dummy. I know how this works. Seat number 52 is empty. On December 8th, 2021, the Adams staffer sent the airline manager a link to a list of Adams transition committees and asked the airline manager, have you looked at the list? The airline manager responded, it would suit me well to be lead or senior advisor. Not the Turkish airline manager being like, I want a promotion. 2 days later, the airline manager sent a message reiterating, lead please, smiley face. Otherwise, seat number 52 is empty on the way back. Meaning that if the airline manager was not given a position on a transition committee, it would affect Adams' travel benefits from the Turkish airline. On September 17th, 2021, the Adams staffer sent Adams a list of members of the Turkish community to add to his transition committees, with the airline manager as the top name. Adams informed the Adams staffer that he had sent the list to the persons responsible for organizing his transition committees. He sent the list to a staff member with the direction, add to transition. The airline manager was subsequently added to Adams' Infrastructure, Climate, and Sustainability Committee Transition Committee. Great. Yeah, that makes sense. That feels right. I feel like this is shit that would happen in Veep or Arrested Development. Yeah, I mean, the specifics of this indictment and just how stupid Eric Adams is, it's very Veep coded. It's absurd, but it's also like, this is not out of the ordinary. You know, this is not something that even this year is unheard of with major Democratic politicians. I mean, Bob Menendez just had to resign after he was found guilty because of the corruption and bribery scheme that he was embroiled in. Adams staffer alleged bathroom break. Number 10. After learning that FBI agents had arrived at her residence, but before answering their repeated knocks at her door, the Adams fundraiser called Adams 5 times, even though the agents had not yet given the Adams fundraiser any indication of the purpose for their visit. When the Adams fundraiser then spoke with the FBI agents, she agreed to discuss many subjects, but refused to say who had paid for her 2021 travel to Turkey. As the FBI agents departed the Adams fundraiser's residence, Adams attempted to call the Adams fundraiser's phone. On the morning that the FBI agents executed this search, Adams had flown to Washington, D.C. for a publicized official meeting, but upon learning about the search, he canceled the meeting and immediately returned to New York City. The Adams staffer also agreed to speak with FBI agents and falsely denied the criminal conduct of herself and Adams, among others. At one point during her voluntary interview, the Adams staffer excused herself to a bathroom and while there, deleted the encrypted messaging applications that she had used to communicate with Adams, the promoter, the Turkish official, the airline manager, and others. Given his cop background, I really think he was just used to never being held accountable for his actions, so he thought he could just get away with it again. Yes, very much so. His background as a cop and then his transition to politics, he has used his position of authority to personally benefit himself. Like, that is why Eric Adams, you know, who Eric Adams is, There's a reason why he seeks positions of authority. There's a reason why he was a cop. There's a reason why he got into, he got into politics, and why he's, had his eye on the Oval Office, because every step of the way has brought him more power, a greater ability to enrich himself personally. Number 11, the complexity of his password. FBI agents executed a search warrant for the electronic devices used by Adams. Although Adams was carrying several electronic devices, including 2 cell phones, he was not carrying his personal cell phone, which is the device that he used to communicate about the conduct described in this indictment. When Adams produced his personal cell phone the next day in response to a subpoena, it was locked, such that the device required a password to open. Adams claimed that after he learned about the investigation into his conduct, he changed the password on November 5th, 2024, and increased the complexity of his password from 4 digits to 6. Adams had done this, he claimed, to prevent members of his staff from inadvertently or intentionally deleting the contents of his phone because, according to Adams, he wished to preserve the contents of his phone due to the investigation. Oh, he's so helpful. Yeah, 42069. But Adams further claimed he had forgotten the password he had just set and thus was unable to provide the FBI with a password that would unlock the phone. He's like, look, guys, I did everything that I could to try and make this easier for you. I just simply can't remember my password. I did everything right and I just forgot my password. Oops. Oopsie. My bad.
China. And he was put up in the Bentley suite in the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul. All of that was worth more than $41,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. Also in 2017, he flew to China, again, through Turkey, and accepted 2 free business class tickets for himself and a companion. Those were worth more than $16,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2018, he flew to Hungary through Turkey and accepted free upgrades for business class seats. Those were worth.
All right, I'm gonna skip over here.
Mayor Eric Adams has just been indicted on federal criminal charges. The FBI searching the mayor's residence at Grace Mansion in Manhattan just this morning. Adams will be the first sitting New York mayor ever to face federal charges. NBC News correspondent Rahema Alice.
The future of the Democratic Party
is in Lower Manhattan. She just got her hands on this unsealed indictment. Also with us, MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin. Former federal prosecutor Christy Greenberg is also here, who worked for the office investigating Adams. So, Rahema, start us off. As we mentioned, this was just unsealed. I know you are still processing it and trying to get the details, but walk us through what we know right now and the search that happened just this morning.
Yeah, it's historic, as you mentioned, Anna. Eric Adams is the 110th mayor of New York City, but as you point out, he is the first mayor of New York City ever to be criminally indicted on federal charges. I'm going to read some of it right now to you. It says, in 2014, Eric Adams, the defendant, became Brooklyn Borough president. Thereafter, nearly a decade, Adams sought and accepted improper valuable benefits, such as luxury international travel, including from wealthy foreign business people, and at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence over him. By 2018, Adams, who had by then made known his plans to run for mayor of New York City, not only accepted but sought illegal campaign contributions to his 2021 mayoral campaign, as well as other things of value from foreign nationals. As Adams
one text message after one of the most egregious favors that Eric Adams did for on behalf of Turkey was that he was pressured to help the Turkish consulate secure a temporary certificate of occupancy for a building it owned and operated. And they wanted to get this all done before the ambassador, I believe it was, traveled to New York. And even though this skyscraper had not passed a fire safety inspection, Eric Adams applied pressure to the fire commissioner, the chief fire commissioner, so that the the building permit would go through. And as a result of this, after he got this taken care of, the Turkish official, his buddy, replied to him, "You are great, Eric. We are so happy to hear it. You are a true friend of Turkey." I just have to believe that he responded either in his mind or to this Turkish official. That is because Istanbul is the New York of the United States of America.
Prominence and power grew. His foreign national benefactors sought to cash in on their corrupt relationships with him, particularly when...
He has a cameo in a 2017 Turkish rom-com. He really is the biggest... He's the biggest Turkish stan.
Bize bir yol yordam göstersen.
Saygıdeğer başkanım, kıymetli helikopterimiz. Dönerce dükkanı açalım dedik, kıçımıza kaçmaya yılan kalmadı. Sizden ruhsatını rica edebilir miyim?
Oh my God, he's a star!
Turkey. Brooklyn loves Turkey. Brooklyn is the Istanbul of America. We love your food, we love your music, but I don't understand Turkish. We can take a selfie, though.
He said the line! He said the fucking line in the movie. It's in the movie. Oh my God. He wants to be Donald Trump so bad with his little movie
2021,
appearances.
it became clear that Adams would become the New York City's mayor. Adams agreed, providing favorable treatment in exchange for the illicit benefits he received. It goes on to talk about after the inauguration, he began preparing for his next election, including by planning to solicit more illegal contributions and granting requests from those who supported his 2021 mayoral campaign with such donations. We should mention to you that I'm standing in Federal Plaza, and about a half an hour now, around the corner, we're expecting that the U.S. District Attorney, Damian Williams, is going to hold a news conference, and he had put out just a moment ago, they're going to talk about these charges. Interestingly, in that press conference, in the press release, he did not name Mayor Adams specifically, but it was clear that Mayor Adams was the target of this investigation as things have been swirling around him. You mentioned and showed some video that earlier this morning, federal authorities went to the mayor's official residence, Gracie Mansion. It is north from where I'm standing, and they took out material from his home. His attorney sent out a statement at that point, and we should share it with you. His lawyer said federal agents appeared this morning at Gracie Mansion in an effort to create, quote, a spectacle again and take Mayor Adams' phone again. He has been arrested. He has not been arrested and looks forward to his day in court. They sent a dozen agents to pick up a phone when we would have happily turned it in. The mayor has
we just can't remember the password.
Insisted that he is innocent of any and all charges that might come against him. And it's interesting, though, because his administration has been bombarded with scandal, if you will, and allegations of illegal activity, in as much as an investigation has been going on now almost from the time he became mayor in 2021. The charges stem from a broad corruption investigation, and they even examined, now we have the indictment says, the mayor and his campaign conspired with a Turkish...
Also, prior to his prior to his indictment, he had the lowest approval rating of any New York mayor since 1996. So he is already deeply, deeply unpopular. He is massively despised, and for good reason, for many good reasons.
Government to receive illegal foreign donations. As you know, it is against the law for foreigners to participate by giving money in an American political election. It also examined whether or not the mayor pressured New York City Fire Department officials in order to sign off on a new high-rise office building for the Turkish consulate, despite the concerns about safety.
It was over for him. It was over for him. He was not going to be reelected.
Problems. And last year, it should be mentioned that one of the mayor's campaign fundraiser officials, Brianna Suggs, her home was searched and her phone and electronic equipment was taken from her home. The mayor was even stopped in the street, his vehicle, and federal agents entered the vehicle taking his phone and electronic equipment. The home of the mayor's director for international affairs was also searched. The search also involved the mayor's former liaison to the Turkish community of former Turkish Airlines executives. There had been talk that the mayor had gotten an upgrade on his seats, if you will, on airline flights to Turkey. He had gone to Turkey several times. He said it was always on official business. Again, the mayor has repeatedly said, as he heard these charges were about to come down, last night he heard about them, and he released a statement saying that he is innocent of any and all potential charges that would be leveled against him, and he is eager to have his day in court. Anna?
Rahema, please keep.
Yeah, I saw a lot of tweets that were like, oh, Eric Adams suddenly into criminal justice reform. Suddenly is all about fixing the massive systemic problems, and we look forward to his leadership. Eric Adams wants due process and the presumption of innocence for himself, but hasn't given a damn for the New Yorkers dying on Rikers Island in pretrial detention or those regularly brutalized, shot, or killed by the NYPD. He needs to resign. No one in his position can manage NYC. Yeah, it's always the law and order guys, you know, the ones who have staked their careers on being law and order candidates, who it turns out are the biggest criminals of them all. Dragon, thank you for another 10 community subs. I like that you're just like testing out to see what Twitch will do in response. Thank you, Dragon Army. Cheapest Beepus, thank you for the 3 months. Let's watch a little bit from his press conference today, where he was interrupted.
I affectionately call her Mother Dukes, has been a head of the NAACP and just a leader that has mentored me throughout my entire journey. I want to now come call her
Sierra,
Mother,
thank you for the 5 months.
Hazel Dukes.
Yes, I am going to watch. I am going to watch it soon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Hazel Dukes. I live in Harlem.
It's also, I just have to say, it's also so fucking nasty to surround yourself with black faces as a way to, you know, as an optics strategy, right? It's like, you think I'm a bad man? I'm a man of the people. Like, look at all this support from members of the black community. Like, you really think that you think that I've done these things I've been accused of?
90, would you be quiet? Would you shut up?
No.
I'm 92 years of age.
Yes. Well, you're 92 years of age and you are showing that you know jack shit. Hazel, you know jack shit. That you're asking a protester to shut up while you support Eric Adams, who is so clearly not just a corrupt motherfucker, but has been disastrous for New York City. His his aggressive policing, his condoning of, if you jump the subway fare, then you will be murdered. And that's how that goes. If you are homeless because of, rising housing costs that Eric Adams has absolutely no interest in addressing whatsoever. And, because you're homeless, you are also food insecure. You are, struggling with mental health problems. You're not a human being. And so if someone kills you on the subway, if, the fear mongering of Eric Adams leads to a New Yorker killing another New Yorker, well, then that's all fine and good. Like, the Eric Adams policies kill people. Okay. It's not just that he's corrupt. It's not just that he, was in bed with Turkish officials and was bought and sold for some business class tickets. It's that he has, he has been horrific for the city of New York, and his policies and his lies and his scandals. It's the sum total of a man who, a man who has used his positions of authority to only enrich himself. And he does not give a shit about the millions of New Yorkers who deserve so much better than Eric Adams. Did you see Lolo's Zinbait? Yes, I did. Oh, so you don't like him then? No, I love Eric Adams. I think he's great.
I've known this young man.
Drew Pavlov thinks Hassan bribed Eric Adams with 50K in Zin. I'm no comment. You know what? It's true. All right. I'll say it. It's true. I can attest.
For over 40 years. I come with a heavy heart today. Yes. But my head is not unbowed. All right. He's going to have his day in court. Yes. And we're going.
This is the same man who stole over $10 million in public funding and also shrunk the New York Public Library budget, who forced 3 of the city's library systems to close on Sundays when they had previously been open all 7 days a week, because a lot of people rely on libraries and they are an incredibly important providing a public service. Yeah, this guy. This is the guy that you're getting up there and defending, the guy who cut back on pre-K funding, the program that was arguably Bill de Blasio's most popular accomplishment, and then Eric Adams gets into office and slashes like $400 million from that program. This is the guy. This guy. That's who you're defending here.
Going to stand by him. Yes, we came this morning to pray for him. Yes. Because prayer changed things. Yes. I am asking all New Yorkers to hear.
Black faces in higher places does not lead to progress. Not when they are people like Eric Adams.
His side. Yes. To let him have a day in court. Let him have his day in court. Amen. And then we can make our decisions. Amen. But we are not here today to criticize.
Okay. Okay, so then should he also spend the time prior to his trial? Should he also be in a place like Rikers? Because he has no problem. With plenty of other black men spending their pre-trial detentions in one of the worst places in this country. Should he go there and see for himself what it's like? And maybe he would understand why there have been so many calls a push to close Rikers because of the inhumane and barbaric way that that people who are forced to stay at Rikers while they are awaiting their trials, the way that they are treated there. And keep in mind, those are not convicted criminals, okay? These are people who cannot afford to be, they can't afford bail. And so they are forced to be detained there while awaiting their trial.
Federal government where you might be, but shush. That's all you do. That's all you brought here to criticize. Yeah. We are going to be here. We're going to be here.
I'm sorry, Mother Duke. Hey, brother, this is a 92-year-old.
Okay, no, you don't get to use her age. No one should be shocked. Eric Adams found a bunch of black activists to stand next to him at the press conference about his federal indictment because this is the same man who ran to Al Sharpton to do this mess after my Breakfast Club interview with him. Yeah, when he got baptized at Rikers. The fuck?
Oh, elder, show us some respect. A 92-year-old elder.
She stands next to you. She stands next to Kwan.
Yeah, no. Sorry, you don't get respect.
Stop that. You're always in favor. You are always in favor of the
Go ahead, Mother Duke.
Don't respond to them.
Go ahead, Mother Duke.
We are calling on all New Yorkers to listen carefully, not to the loudmouths, but listen to facts and figures. His lawyers will go and do our work for us, and we will stand with this mayor. Right.
Thank you.
Like, the thing is, it's one thing to stand with him after he has been indicted and is so, it's just so clearly and cartoonishly corrupt. But it's another to stand with him after the last 4 years of his policies as mayor. Like, that is also deserving of shame.
We want to now bring one of our amazing bishops up forward now. Bishop.
You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to black people. You're an embarrassment to black people.
We are admonished to be angry and sin not.
He's such a coward. Look at him. He's hiding behind the black activists who he brought up there to shield him. He is such a fucking piece of shit coward that he cannot handle the protesters and is, trying to smile his way through and is hiding behind is hiding behind this group.
We can have our anger.
Akkurat, thank you for the 4 months.
We move forward.
Conway, thank you for the 2 months.
We move forward. We move forward.
Silent, thank you for 3 months.
None of us. None of us have ever done anything in our lives that we've asked forgiveness for and it was not granted.
What?
We live in a society where if we do something, there is a due process for all of us. There's a process that starts.
We live in a society? No, not the we live in a society line.
It has a middle and it has an end.
What?
And none of us has.
What is this like? The sky is, the water is wet. It is a hot day in summer because it is The sun is shining and it is hot.
The right to preempt that process. If I have an accident, I have to report it to my insurance, and they fight it out, and then a verdict is announced. We cannot prejudge any situation in fear that we might prejudge it inappropriately. And the same justice that we want for ourselves, we want for our mayor. That's
right. But he doesn't want that justice for you all. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Eric Adams is an enemy to working class people. He is an enemy to the black community. This is the guy who has slashed public services at every opportunity to do so. This is the guy who has, pumped more money into an already inflated policing budget. This is a guy who puts robot dogs in the subway. He is trying to turn the subway into an underground jail with how many cops and robot dogs, which any form of dog, I'm sorry, it's all ACAB, okay? It's all ACAB. Robot dog, real dog, and he is happy to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to criminalize poor people in need of assistance, deserving of assistance, and he takes a shit all over them.
If I confess, I know there is a God that says he's faithful and just to forgive me of my sin and to cleanse me from everything that is unrighteous. Until the verdict is announced, we stand. We are not people who have a yellow strip down our back, and neither are we intimidated by loud voices. Whatever the truth is, the truth will prevail.
Okay. Yeah, the truth will prevail. And let me tell you, they would not have brought those charges against him if they did not have the truth. All right. They have been investigating him essentially his entire tenure as mayor. So that they finally brought the charges yesterday, that they finally indicted him, he's going down. He's going down, as he should. As he absolutely should. All right, let's watch some of
3 in the morning. Eric?
Let's watch some of this Olay video, because I think some people need to be reminded of what a piece of shit Eric Adams is. And Olay she's a lawyer in New York, and she is the #1 Eric Adams hater, and absolutely cooked his ass when they were on The Breakfast Club together. Charlemagne, I don't even remember if he spoke a word. And anyway, so this is after her interview with Eric Adams, where she came ready and he was not prepared to handle it.
Eric Adams acknowledged that New York City is one of the safest big cities in the country with a safe subway station, yet people don't feel safe. And I said that New York City is safe and people don't feel safe, and that has a lot to do with how the mayor himself fearmongers about crime, especially crime in the subways. And he told me to provide him with a quote of how he fearmongers about crime. But lucky for me, let me just show you how he did exactly that in this exact interview.
Some of the toxic traits the boomer black community has adopted, standing besides black people in power, to a fault just because they look like us, not because the content of our character. It's the whole black faces in higher places. It's having black people in positions of power is a sign of, real progress. And that's how a lot of black people felt about Barack Obama and still feel about Barack Obama. Now, there are plenty of black people who recognize what a failure Barack Obama was for the black community. I mean, he wouldn't even support Black Lives Matter back in 2014. And he, you know, he really was, he really, really, really failed the Black community in just the most basic of ways. But there are a number of older Black people in this country who still feel a reverence and a love for Barack Obama because he was the first Black president. Because, you know, a lot of older Black people in this country, they lived during Jim Crow. You know, they were alive in the 50s and the 60s. And so, you know, could not imagine ever having a Black man in the White House. And so simply for that fact, they have continued to support Obama. It did still mean a lot, even though it was a huge disappointment. Yeah, I mean, that was the first campaign I worked on. I've talked many times about how that time in my life and in a lot of people's lives, it felt like politics could actually be this, you know, this good thing for once. And that true, genuine feeling of hope. And every time Barack Obama would get up on stage and you would listen to him speak, or when you would see him, you know, with a small group of people, and how he was, you know, always just so good. He was so good.
National Guard, that there's a hyper visibility of police, that they're trying to stop people with certain records from even using them, and now you have this congestion price. So how do you reconcile that?
Well, let's go before. First of all, I would love to give me the quotes on my rhetoric, because I'm lost on that. Can you give me the quotes?
Oh, that you fairmonger about the subways?
Yeah,
you've consistently done that since the day one of your administration.
One
of
of
the first things you did was add 1,000 officers to the subway
prime.
because you claimed that the subways are unrideable. You and Hochul did this and said how dangerous it is, and you recently did that when you deployed the National Guard.
Sister, but that wasn't my question, Queen. My question was, what was my fear?
No, you don't get a. She is a queen. You don't get a call her that though.
What did I say?
A few
people on the far left disagree with me. You know, many people on the far left, they say, Eric, people should be allowed to sleep on the streets.
There you go, bathroom. I'll be right.
No matter what, they should be allowed to sit on your stoop and inject themselves with drugs.
Her name is Olayemi, but she often goes by Olay.
They should be allowed to go in stores and steal whatever they want. They shouldn't have to pay on the subway system. They should be allowed to carry a gun and be able to come out the next day. Like, people disagree with me all the time.
Earlier, you asked me to point out the rhetoric. Earlier, you asked me to point out specifically what you say to fairmonger about crime. So I just would like to say, Exhibit A, like what you literally just did. You continue to say in this that New York is the safest big city, while simultaneously you are the one sensationalizing the crime.
I point out facts.
Which is the facts? Is it safer? Is it who? Eric Adams said that New Yorkers feel safer when they see a high visible presence of police officers around.
They said, Eric, we see more visible uniform officers in our subway system, we're gonna feel safer. We got it. Oh, let me. Can I peel
You can
it
talk.
back?
You can peel it back.
So we got it that the numbers are down. We got it that we're back on the subway system post-COVID. But when we see, this is what the public is saying, when we see the visible presence of a uniform officer, we feel safer.
Fact check. A Siena study found that only 33% of New Yorkers feel safer when they see police. And only 13% of Black New Yorkers found that they feel safer when they see police. And 61% of Black New Yorkers would support some reduction of police funds. 3. I said that since Eric Adams became mayor, we've seen the return of stop and frisk, and that Eric Adams revived neighborhood safety teams that have been disbanded after 2020 for their disproportionate abuse of Black and brown people. The federal monitor, who is tasked with ensuring that NYPD is following the law, conducted an analysis. Conducted an analysis that happened 8 years ago, but they're still here monitoring what you're doing, and they said that you have brought back stop and frisk policies that are worse than they saw even during the Bloomberg era. But more importantly, they analyzed the neighborhood safety. I could show you the report is available, and I know it's been available to you because your spokesperson has commented on it. They did an analysis of over 10 precincts,
you can't keep putting
10 different precincts. That is factual. There's a federal monitor reporting to Judge T. Swain on it and presenting the information. They said that, yes, listen.
Yeah, and to bring up Jordan Neely again, that is a result of fear-mongering. When you have someone like Eric Adams, who has staked so much of his political career on fear-mongering about crime and the homeless population, that leads to violence for homeless people, like homeless individuals like Jordan Neely, who needed and deserved help. He didn't deserve to be killed.
Let me finish so you can peel it back. They conducted an analysis of 10 different precincts, and of the stops of 10 different precincts, they found that 97% of them, by the way, of the neighborhood safety teams that were disbanded in 2020 because of their disproportionate abuse against Black and Hispanic people that you revived, they analyzed 10 of those different neighborhood safety teams and found that they're conducting 97% of their stops on Black and brown people, and a quarter of them are unconstitutional. That's what the Federal Monitor said, not me.
Yeah, and that's a
fact check. Straight from the New York Times, quoting the Federal Monitor's report.
I wonder if Charlemagne covered any of this now that he's indicted. Bro, Charlemagne couldn't or wouldn't or both get a word in because he is nowhere near, he's nowhere near the capacity or the capabilities needed to debunk Eric Adams' bullshit.
New York Police Department.
He is not anywhere near to her level.
Anti-crime units are still stopping, frisking, and searching too many people unlawfully. Almost all of them people of color. Despite assurances from Mayor Eric Adams that new policies and training would end the practice, according to a new report by a court-appointed monitor. The monitor, Mylan Dennerstein, filed a report in federal court in Manhattan on Monday, detailing what she described as unlawful policing. Ms. Dennerstein, whose position was created in 2013 after a court ruled the police department's use of stop and frisk was unconstitutional, is assigned to oversee the units, which have a history of targeting Black and Hispanic people. Earlier versions of the units were responsible for a disproportionate number of police shootings.
Thank you for the 5 community subs.
And they were disbanded in 2020. Mr. Adams reinstated and renamed them after he took office last year. But critics were skeptical that they could be run without racially profiling young men.
No, I know that. I just want to know if he brought it up No, my point is basically just Charlemagne has never been an intellectual, somebody who's using his platform in bringing on politicians like Eric Adams as a way to debunk the falsehoods that Eric Adams spreads. He just like he's more of a yes man. Did you like the pic I chose of you? For what? For what pic? Is it my Cheryl pic? Hi, I'm Cheryl. What did you do? I know it's going to be bad. You wouldn't come in here and say, did you like the pic I chose of you? Unless you did me dirty. Let me see. Hasana's mouse is It's me, Cheryl. These pictures could not be more of a contrast. Hi, I'm Cheryl. Ask me anything. You know what? It's perfect. Sam has her poster on the way. She made a poster of this photo. Don't know where she's gonna put it up, but yeah, I have no complaints here. Nothing whatsoever on my part. You're welcome. Oh, okay. Did I say thanks? Thanks. Thank you.
Men of color as previous units had. Almost all of the stops made by the rebranded neighborhood safety teams analyzed in the report, 97%, where Black or Hispanic people.
You're the one who's been leaving them in dentist offices? Ah, it makes sense now. It makes sense. That's why next to every brochure for like yellow teeth, it's me.
24% of the stops were unconstitutional. Of 230 car stops included in the sample, only 2 appeared to have turned up weapons, the report said. The study found especially troubling numbers in a handful of precincts, including the 41st precinct in the Bronx, where only 41% of the stops, 32% of frisks, and 26% of searches were constitutional.
Yeah, he was worse than Mike Bloomberg. Okay, I think that says a lot there. That Eric Adams stop and frisk under Eric Adams has been worse than it was under Mike Bloomberg,
according to the report. 4. Eric Adams was boasting about the programs that he'd established at Rikers, and I said that was not true, that Eric Adams had actually cut the $17 million for the budget used for the programs, the re-entry programs at Rikers.
Rikers has been dysfunctional for generations. I came in, decreased violence.
Oh, did you?
Real incentive programs for young people there, but I didn't do it from a distance. I went to Rikers and walked the halls. I'm coming here, I'm going to see what you're going through. I want to make sure you leave here better than how you got here in the first place. And we started instituting programs to do so.
Respectfully, Mayor Adams, fundamentally the things that you were saying is untrue. You actually cut $17 million that were used for classes for people at Rikers to re-enter society. Those were cut under your
check out the programs.
Those were cut under your administration. Fact check. Not only did Eric Adams cut the $17 million for re-entry service programs at Rikers, it accounted for less than 1% of the entire Department of Corrections' $1.2 billion budget and around 0.001% of the city's budget. But he chose to cut these vital and pretty cheap programs for no other reason than fuck the people at Rikers. 5. Once I confirmed that Eric Adams had actually cut the budget for the programs he had just been boasting about, he started throwing the programs under the bus altogether and complaining that they weren't legitimate and that the people providing the programs for the people incarcerated at Rikers are not genuine and don't care about the people, or otherwise they would be doing it for free. Respectfully, Mayor Adams, fundamentally the things that you were saying is untrue. You actually cut $17 million that were used for classes for people at Rikers to re-enter society. Those were cut under your
check out the programs.
Those were cut under your administration.
We were spending millions of dollars.
31 people have died at Rikers since Eric Adams became mayor.
Millions of dollars for these professional folks who do these programs, re-entry programs.
Respectfully, Mayor, means no respect whatsoever.
Programs, millions of dollars, 7 people sitting inside the class. People have profitized poverty. They're making so much money off of Black and brown people. If we're really true to what we say we want to do, why do we have to pay you millions of dollars to do it? You know, why don't you come on Rikers like I do and volunteer?
This isn't so much a fact check, so much as I just wanted to highlight this insanity in case it had gotten by you. The mayor is making the argument that if people really care about Black and brown people or people that are incarcerated, they will work for free, that they don't need wages now. Mind you, this is while Rikers itself gets $860 million yearly to lock up poor Black and brown people pre-trial. So let's rewind a little bit. He cut the $17 million, just a tiny percentage of the money that he had, and he did that while he was crying broke about the migrant crisis. It's not that I have a problem with it. It's that, again, the sensationalism has a lot to do with the fact that you got up and declared that we have this migrant crisis. And I thought it was interesting, your earlier point about the difference between how Ukrainian migrants are being received versus migrants, Black and Latino migrants, because again, you gave a town hall where you were the one who gave this speech and you incentivized New Yorkers to feel this way.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City.
You called specific countries. I remember you calling the countries that the migrants were from. They weren't the Ukrainian migrants. You weren't talking about them.
So what happens when we don't have... Hold on, sister, I did not call the countries what they were from. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian-speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa.
A few moments later.
Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico.
But also signing a historic deal with the Police Benevolent Association. It was the third deal. It was only the third voluntary contract with the Police Benevolent Association in 30 years in New York, where Eric Adams voluntarily agreed to increase the wages for lots of officers and to allow extra overtime for many officers.
They're here to announce a new deal with the Police Benevolent Association that would do just that. This is a historic deal. Only the third voluntary contract with the PBA in 30 years. One that would make sure our officers get the benefits and compensation they deserve. Allow them to work a more flexible schedule.
And mind you, NYPD blew past their $100 million budget in overtime last year. When I brought up the deaths at Rikers, Eric Adams turned to Charlemagne to say that we need to look at how people are dying. That people are not dying because of what happens to them at Rikers, but that they're coming to Rikers ill.
And people say, well, Eric, people are dying on Rikers. Look at how they died. People are coming into Rikers in terrible medical conditions.
And not getting their medical appointments.
It's not that they were dying because correction officers were killing them. People were coming in with heart problems. They were overdosing on drugs.
Fact check. Not only are people dying for a host of different reasons at Rikers, but the deaths due to medical reasons are still at the fault of the Department of Corrections because there were over 94,000 missed medical appointments because corrections officers simply failed to take people to their medical appointments. And those aren't even all the missed medical appointments, just the ones that can be directly attributed to the fault of DOC. Number 7. I said that last year we spent more than $100 million on police misconduct settlements for the NYPD, and that number has doubled since Eric Adams became mayor. Just last year, we paid out $150 million in settling police misconduct from NYPD, and that was double the number. That's double the number in police misconduct since you became mayor. Fact check. Last year, New York has paid $121 million in police misconduct settlements, which was up from just $85 million in 2021. And that
121 in police misconduct settlements, millions in wrongful death lawsuits to the families of those who were killed on Rikers. So as a reminder, this is the taxpayers' responsibility, right? Like this falls upon the taxpayers. And so it is, it's extremely maddening, not just because of how inhumane these policies are and, how barbaric the treatment of the police is, treatment of, police towards New Yorkers and those who are currently detained at Rikers. But it also costs taxpayers in the city millions.
Doesn't account for all of the money that New Yorkers paid in police settlements. All told, the city paid nearly $184 million, primarily for personal injuries as well as property damage, according to the comptroller. 8. I said to Eric Adams that I remembered his trip to DC to go see Biden about the migrant crisis because I remember the trip being stopped because the FBI seized his phone. I remember you started that tour before you were going to go DC, and when you were going to go to DC to talk to Joe Biden about the migrant crisis, but you were stopped because the FBI had to take your phones.
Good Lord, you just make up stuff.
Did I make that up? That's reported. The FBI didn't seize your phone.
This is why I know she's personally so vindicated by the indictment.
The FBI didn't seize your phones.
No,
they didn't investigate your top aides. That's not happening.
What did you just say?
I said I remember the tour that you went on when you were going to the border, when you were going to DC to talk
I came back because somebody had to take my phone?
Because it stopped. I said I remember on the day of. I remember it because it was reported.
You got amnesia.
Oh, me and the news. Fact check. And I don't think this clarification is actually going to make it better for Eric Adams, but his phones were definitely seized in connection with the FBI investigation that was happening then. And his trip was definitely cut short, but it wasn't cut short for the FBI seizing his phone. It was cut short for the FBI searching and raiding his fundraisers' homes. The FBI has actually raided several of Eric Adams' top aides at this point in connection with their investigation against him for illegal campaign donations, which he was forced to admit even in that interview despite his outrage at my audacity to ask him about his federal investigation. But you were stopped because the FBI had to take your phones.
Good Lord, you just make up stuff.
Did I make that up? Did they search your top aides?
Not that day.
Did they search the home of several
Yes.
people? Okay.
Yes.
That's what I said. And bonus fact, those are not the only allegations that Eric Adams is dealing with. He was also recently sued by a former colleague at the NYPD, a black woman who sued under the Adult Survivors Act. She alleges that while she and Eric Adams were both working for the NYPD, she had been passed up for a job promotion multiple times, she believed, on the basis of her race and gender. So she turned to Eric Adams, who at the time led an organization that was meant to help black people within the NYPD dealing with discrimination. So she turned to Eric Adams for help. And she alleges that he agreed to help her and told her that they would have a meeting at Coney Island after work one day, but instead of driving them to Coney Island, that he drove to a parking lot and tried to get her to have oral sex with him, and that when she didn't, he relieved himself in her presence.
I think a horrifying fact about the majority of the lawsuits that were brought under the Adult Survivors Act window is that they were filed by people who had been formerly incarcerated at Rikers. That is how horrible Rikers is, and how rampant sexual abuse of prisoners, sexual abuse of detainees are. Because remember, these are people who are being held pre-trial. So because they're poor, they can't afford to be out on bail. And so they are being held in a place like Rikers, and many of them were abused and ended up filing lawsuits when the ASA gave them an opportunity to do so.
Brother,
9. When Eric Adams brought up how the media sensationalizes crime, I said that it's NYPD using their own Twitter accounts to sensationalize crime.
Those random acts of violence are being highlighted. If you have 24 hours in a day, and something that happens to you in an hour in a day, you start to define yourself as that entire day. Those random acts of violence are plastered on social media. They're plastered on
the NYPD
newspapers.
Twitter page.
They're plastered on everything. People begin to believe that, I'm living in a city that's out of control. We are not.
She made a good point, though. If NYPD is reposting that kind of stuff, what are we supposed to think?
I said at the beginning.
Everybody got a phone, brother.
No. NYPD's page is doing this. This has recently been there so much so that they're arguing with journalists on there. It's NYPD on their own Twitter pages that are posting and sensationalizing crime. And I said this at the beginning. And for the fact check, you could honestly just go to any NYPD account on Twitter and see for yourselves, or read this entire article from Hellgate devoted to how NYPD uses their Twitter to sensationalize crime as well as harass journalists. But honestly, forget all of that.
Yeah. It's like when the guy in the subway, he had a knife, but actually the knife disappeared. Oh, sorry, there is no longer a knife.
Because I have nothing better than what's happening right now. I think it's very funny that I said in this interview that NYPD uses their Twitter this way. Eric Adams denied it, only for his chief of patrol to get on Twitter and start fucking harassing me. Okay. 10. I said that Eric Adams wants to sensationalize one police murder, which is a rare occurrence, while he has nothing to say of the at least 31 people that have died at Rikers since he became mayor, the at least 7 people that have been killed by New York police this year, including a 19-year-old that had been murdered by NYPD in Queens just a night before our interview after he called 911 for help when he was in a mental health crisis. Same breath that you want to sensationalize me, want to highlight and point out, an officer was killed the other day, which is a rare occurrence across the United States, but let alone in New York. New York police officers have killed at least 7 people this year, including a 19-year-old and NYPD officer killed.
That's what we call an afterbirth execution.
I'm not going to dismiss the loss of a life of an innocent person that wears a uniform to protect us.
But you do, of the 31 people dead at Rikers and the 19-year-old killed yesterday.
I feel like I don't want to take you out of context, and I don't want people to all of a sudden criticize that you're being dismissive of a young man being shot
Mayor
and
Adams,
killed.
That's not going to work on me.
I'm not trying to break
That was one of my favorite parts.
I lost a member of the police department the same way I go to see the mother of an 11-month-old baby that was shot in the head when I first became mayor, and I sat in the hospital with her. The same way I go visit these mothers who lose their children to gun violence, I go see them.
Yes, but not the mothers of the people who are dying in Rikers.
Rikers?
Just as I go to see the family member of a slain police officer, I go visit those parents that lose their loved ones of violence.
Are you visiting the family of the?
Do you do that?
First of all, yes, I did. I held a Riker. I represented hundreds.
You went to visit the family member of a slain officer?
No, not the slain officer.
Okay, of course you did.
No, but what about the 19-year-old that was killed yesterday by NYPD in Queens when he called for help? Have you said anything about that? Are you visiting them?
Yeah, the
fact.
Yeah, please never visit me, Eric Adams.
Officers die in the line of duty. In 2021, there was a 25-year record high of police deaths in the line of duty. And you know what that number was? 73. Now, compare that to the 779 people police have already killed just this year, or the at least 1,247 people killed by police last year in 2023. Further, at least 31 people have died in Rikers since Eric Adams became mayor. And I say at least because after getting tired of the backlash from the mounting deaths at Rikers, his administration decided that they would stop telling the public about in-custody deaths altogether. The city reported, the change in the DOC's death disclosures comes as the federal monitor overseeing the department has criticized Correction Commissioner Louis Molina, who Eric Adams hired, and his team for failing to properly inform them about a recent death and 4 other serious and disturbing incidents involving harm to incarcerated persons. In a special report, federal monitor Steve Martin wrote he had to rely on media reports, including one from the city about a detainee who had been placed on a ventilator for 2 weeks and is now paralyzed from the neck down after being tackled by guards. I said that
it's not a stat if it's not reported.
At least 7 people have been killed by New York police this year.
Stats can't hurt
you.
You can
go
to
a
website
them. Called Mapping Police Violence that I encourage you to utilize, where they track police killings all across the country. 11. I told Eric Adams that I was aware that he visited Rikers because back in 2022, after a string of deaths, he went to Rikers to lend his support to the corrections officers.
I've been on Rikers Island more than any mayor in the history of the city, talking with inmates and correction officers to turn around what's happening on Rikers Island.
I know you go to Rikers in 2022 and there were 3 deaths back to back because corrections officers left their posts and allowed it to happen. You went to Rikers to express your support for the corrections officer. I know you go to Rikers. I do want you to do, Mayor Adams.
But you keep giving out misinformation.
It's not a fact check. New York One reported that in 2022, after 2 detainees died in custody in a 48-hour period following the death of another incarcerated.
Here's the thing I need you guys to know too. She's making it look easy, and yes, Eric Adams is a buffoon. Okay, he is a buffoon, but it's still not easy to do what she did here during this interview. And the fact that she's so seamless with it points to her expertise as a public defender in New York City and someone who knows everything that Eric Adams has been up to. But yeah, this is something that you can do online when you have like a second to more than a second to think through your response and double check yourself. Because a lot of times when you're trying to recall stats and facts, it's a memory game. And sometimes when you're in the heat of a moment and when your, emotions are coursing, because that's what happens when you talk to someone who is such a bad individual and has done so many bad things. And it's like, dealing with actually like face to face confronting this person and then trying to recall all the stats to back up your argument. So yeah, being able to recall those specifics, being able to like not skip a beat, deal with him when he is being obtuse and when he is, continuing to turn to Charlemagne as like a lifeboat for him. Yeah, this takes real skill. It does.
Rated man earlier that month, Eric Adams held his first press conference at Rikers to lend his support to the corrections officers, where he said, quote, "I am not ashamed of you. I am proud of you. Keep doing the job you are doing. Beyond the fact checks that I'm presenting to you, I said you have nothing to say about the 31 deaths. You have nothing to say about the 7 deaths. Nothing to say about the 31 Rikers deaths. You have nothing to say about NYPD murdering that 19-year-old boy. And you know what he said about it? Nothing. So that's your fact check on how much he cares about anybody that's not the police. I think that should be a sufficient amount of receipts that I've provided to y'all. If you are still interested, trust me, that's not the tip of the iceberg on all the things that Eric Adams has done wrong in his administration
Anyway,
or
I'll
what's
link this
going
for
on.
y'all.
Again, my magnum opus, my Eric Adams doc. So if you haven't seen it and you want to know more about Eric Adams'
it's really good.
administration,
It's a 2-hour video, but it goes into a lot of detail. More detail on how Eric Adams got elected, his background as a cop, and then his just an overview of all of his policies that have been really really detrimental. So recommend watching that. She's great. And she's got a new video. We'll probably watch when her new video comes out, which she's cooking up now that Eric Adams has been indicted, because she is the premier Eric Adams hater. number one hater, but can back up the hating. Alrighty. Okay, let's move on to another story here. I think I want to talk about let's talk about Anna Delvey on Dancing with the Stars. Okay, so Dancing with the Stars is trash, as a lot of entertainment is, where they will consistently give a spotlight and a platform to fashionable criministas like Anna Delvey, who has really been quite privileged in the aftermath of getting arrested and found guilty for the numerous fraud that she committed. There was, of course, the show on Hulu, Inventing Anna, starring what's her name from Ozark, and then just countless profiles and just so much attention on Anna Delvey. Like, if you Google Anna Delvey, it'll be like Variety sits down with Anna Delvey and asks her, "What's in your purse?" Like that type of shit. And the latest is that she appeared on Dancing with the Stars. She was very quickly eliminated. And I wanted to cover this because it is yet again another egregious example of the double standard that exists in this country. Anna Delvey got permission from ICE because she is currently not in the country legally. She is German/Russian, I think. And after she was arrested, she was allowed to sell art and keep up her her goings on that were not criminal, and she was able to she wasn't she was not having to stay in prison. She was given house arrest. So she was, living in a very luxurious surroundings on house arrest. And the judge in her case ruled that because of her, she's selling art. She's demonstrating that she has an actual interest in pursuing legitimate employment. So she was given permission to stay in the U.S. And basically, she walked away from a massive, a massive web of fraudulent white collar crimes that she had committed, with pretty much a slap on the wrist. and was heavily rewarded for what she had done. And now she is a celebrity, and she gets invited to do things like be on Dancing with the Stars. So this is not so much me like going back through Anna Delvey's crimes and the life of Anna Delvey. There's plenty out there for you to take a look at. This is just talking about the fact that she was on Dancing with the Stars. She continues to get treated like a celebrity. And meanwhile, there are plenty of people in this country who have not committed crimes, who are brutalized by organizations like ICE, who are not allowed to compete on something like Dancing with the Stars, who are not glamorized, are not treated like anti-heroes or anti-heroines, who are not admired, and they are treated, they are treated like criminals even when they are not criminals.
I just want to say,
this is her on the red carpet for Dancing with the Stars, talking about how she was able to do the show.
congratulations on this season. This is obviously your first time competing. This is also your first time as a pro. So I want to start the question with you. How excited are you to be a pro this season?
It's been my dream ever since I was a little kid. Unlike Anna, I've watched the show so many times when I was a kid, and I never thought that one day I'd have this chance. So it feels very unreal, but every single day it's like, it kind of hits me. It's like it's actually happening. It's real. And it actually hit me when I met Anna too. And I freaking am obsessed with Anna. So I'm very excited. She's my first partner.
Well, Anna, what made you want to join Dancing with the Stars? Because I know there might be some critics out there that may be, kind of scratching their heads over this choice.
I kind of been talked into doing this, and I got the permission from ICE. And
just that statement there. And she also has an unscripted TV series coming out, Delvey's Dinner Club. Like, she is able to keep grifting. She is able to capitalize on having committed crimes because of this country's obsession with people like her, with criminals like her, where she, is now wealthy and she is a star and has so many opportunities in the entertainment industry and got exactly what she wanted. Like, ironically, she got what she wanted. She has fame. She has money. She is admired, and there's like, her name is everywhere. She has national recognition. She genuinely failed upwards, because when you look like Anna Delvey and when you have done what Anna Delvey did, then you too can have you too can fail upwards. That's what happens. And ICE will give you permission to compete on Dancing with the Stars. Like, it's just amazing that here you have somebody from Germany who is treated just entirely different than somebody who's coming from Guatemala, somebody who's coming from Mexico. There is no glamorization there. There is no there is no even just nice treatment, just like basic human decency.
it was kind of too late to back out, so.
Did you just say too late to back out? You better show up to rehearsal today. Gosh.
Oh my gosh, an honest queen. Okay. So how would you describe your dance level and your dance skills this season?
That's a question.
Or not this season, in general.
She has dance ability. She said that she was dancing until she was 13, right? Until 13.
12, yeah.
Sorry, until 12. But then I kind of didn't believe her, so I had her show me her first position, her plie, and then after I saw her brilliant turnout, I was like, oh, she does have dance ability. We only had one practice, so it's really hard to gauge how much they can handle, but she did it really well. She did really good.
Is there any song or artist
this
that
is
you're
just
looking forward
it's just
to
ridiculous.
see or performing or dancing to?
It is such an indictment on it's such an indictment on the industry. It's an indictment on our society and, you know, our governmental organizations. And it speaks to not only that she is able to benefit from her crimes and spin it into a very lofty career, but the fact that she was able to commit that fraud in the first place. Nobody looked twice at her. Do you think that, like, I hate to, you know, only because I'm not trying to like be cliche here, but it is accurate. But do you think that if she were Black or if she were Latino, that she would have been able to so easily commit fraud with, you know, banking institutions, with wealthy members of the upper crust of New York? Do you think she would have been allowed in and been able to, you know, been able to commit all sorts of crimes to the tune, I think it was like close to $300,000 that she had amassed? No, of course not. And you look at the Anna Delveys, you look at, you know, fraudsters like her who used their privilege, who used their you know, their ability to be welcomed in to elite society, and then turned around and scammed a lot of the people around her. And so it's not only the nature of how she was able to do that in the first place, but then how she really did not face consequences for it and has instead been rewarded. So here's The View. Usually I can't stand The View. Sometimes I think that they make good points. I don't agree with every point they make in this, but let's watch this.
I think back to all the families who've had family members arrested by ICE, who have gone to the courts to get their dad or their brother or their mother back. And this woman, they gave her permission to go do this. Now, should I think there's a reason? Is there a two-tiered system here with ICE?
I mean, this is true.
It feels like that. Doesn't it feel like that? It feels like that. I mean, if you think about it, she defrauded so many people and then spent about 2 years in prison and then had to spend another 18 months in prison for overstaying her welcome and overstaying her visa. So she committed another crime. And what is the, I don't know, consequence of it? A bejeweled ankle.
My memory is not totally sharp on this, but I'm pretty sure she spent a lot of this time in her own or in like where was she? Like she was not in prison. I think she spent a lot of time under house arrest. Like, she still technically is under house arrest. That's why she had the ankle monitor. But I know that she was being she was taken into custody when she was released from prison. She was taken into custody by ICE, but not like where a family that had crossed the border would be taken, not in like a detention center that you typically would think of.
Ankle monitor, a federal bejeweled ankle monitor, and a spot on a television show. And then you think about Gypsy Rose, who, you know, some people say she didn't kill her mother, some people say she did.
Just put a hit.
This is the part I just don't agree with fully, because I don't think Gypsy Rose should have served 10 years in prison. She was very clearly the victim of abuse, like really, really horrific abuse.
Hit on her mother, and then now all of a sudden she got a reality show.
Also, she is responsible for the death of her mother. Like, she also has said that, and she regrets what she did. But she was the victim of child abuse.
Running
for president. Why are we surprised? And then
We have to give it to her. We got to give her. We got to give her a props.
That was my next point. Yeah. So, like, I like a come up.
But the one thing I will say is that I do agree that it is so gross how readily the media and the entertainment industry, how ready they are to exploit someone like Gypsy Rose, where it's just this obsession. I talked about this when she was first released and everyone was like, oh my God, Gypsy Rose, please start a TikTok. Like, why do you need to consume Gypsy Rose content? Why do you have an obsession over this person? Like, look, Gypsy Rose, she can do what she's going to do, what she wants to do. And yes, she has taken advantage of her fame and of public goodwill towards her. But me, as a normal person, I look at the Gypsy Rose situation and I'm just like, I hope that she gets the help that she needs. I hope that she is, therapy continuing. I hope that she is able to lead a peaceful life. I'm not like, oh my God, Gypsy Rose needs to get on TikTok because I gotta see everything that she has. Gypsy Rose, what do you think of this? I don't look at her as a celebrity. I don't treat her like a celebrity. I look at her as a young woman who had been abused by her mother from when she was a young girl, and it was a very horrifying, sad state of affairs, and she should not have served that the prison sentence that she did. But anyway, what the fuck are you saying? I'm sorry, but how can you rightfully call N-word Jim problematic, but y'all keep saying the G slur? What part of it's a slur? Do you not what the fuck are you talking about? Are you lost? The G slur? Are we talking about Gypsy Rose? That's her name? What would you like me to call her? Who is Jim? Why did my first thought go to Jim from The Office? Romani Rose. Excuse me. That is a wild comment. That's a lot. That's a lot, chatter. I don't think I don't know if you're thinking before you're posting, so I would recommend just taking a little break. Taking a little break. Okay. Anyway, G Slur Rose, who has a TV show coming out, and this isn't something where I'm against G Slur Rose. It is more so being against the sensationalizing of, first of all, the sensationalizing of true crime, the celebrityizing of someone like G Slur Rose, who is a victim of child abuse. Like, there's just something really fucked up about it. There's something real nasty about it.
When are there consequences to people's actions?
But I have an idea.
All right.
I have an idea for a spinoff. I'd like to speak to the network here about this because I have a spinoff.
Please do.
It would be Manafort, Bannon, Roger Stone, and Donald Trump called Dancing with the Felons.
Yes. Yes.
I think that would be such a hit. Brian, pitch it.
I'm on it.
I'm
here for a redemption arc, not a rehabilitation arc. And the difference is this: somebody who has owned and taken responsibility for what they did wrong. Martha Stewart, she did jail time. I am here to see Martha Stewart thrive. Even Gypsy Rose, I put her into that category because she did the time and acknowledged wrongdoing for what she did. I'm not convinced that this person has.
But okay. I forget what her name is. I think she's usually pretty annoying. I think I usually disagree with her takes. But it's okay. Couple things happening here where one, it's about who gets that redemption, right? It's about who gets the television shows and the spots on Dancing with the Stars and the podcasts and ample opportunities to razzle and dazzle and make a lot of money doing so. And so Whoopi's initial point here is she's talking about a two-tiered system. She's talking about how individuals at the border, or people who are legally seeking asylum, people who are here as green card holders, who are here because DACA has allowed them to be, who are facing who have to deal with the brutality of ICE, who have to worry about raids and sweeps and family separation, who have to worry about being abused and tortured in detention centers. There was that, report that came out about the Louisiana detention centers where, I mean, it's barbaric. Like it's just beyond words how unbelievably inhumane it is, and how those who are being held in those detention centers are dying in some cases, are just having to experience absolute hell. And so it's talking about how we approach, we approach people differently depending on where they are from, depending on the color of the skin, depending on what we perceive them to be guilty of. And it's a broken legal system, of course. Like, that's what this demonstrates here. And so that's why Whoopi initially brought this up, to point out the double standard. And especially with ICE, of all fucking groups, ICE letting Anna Delvey, like treating her with dignity and treating her like a human being, and letting her go to LA, letting her leave New York to go to LA to compete on Dancing with the Stars. I'm like, I'm sorry, are we talking about the same ICE that violently rips families apart, that has rampant sexual and physical abuse at detention centers, that they are responsible for? Like the same ICE that just inflicts terror upon migrants, upon those who did not commit crimes that Anna Delvey committed, who are not criminals, who are not like criminals like Anna Delvey is. And this isn't me like condemning Anna Delvey. Like, the point of this is not me coming after her for having scammed and frauded wealthy people and financial institutions. I don't give a shit, right? It's about the fact that she was able to do so because of this double standard, and the fact that she's been rewarded for doing so. And so that's the point here.
She still owes people money, and con artists tend to remain con artists. So I would just say, if you're around her there, I'd be wary about schemes she might be working.
All she wanted to do was be in fancy parties, to be around all the fame and glitter. And I think sometimes people mistake fame and infamy. And this is someone who's
living in New York with roommates. Would you live?
She also scams some poor people too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it's you will not catch me out here defending Anna Delvey. I just more so meant that this isn't like revisiting the life and crimes of Anna Delvey. And primarily she did go after financial institutions and wealthy individuals because it was easy for her to do so, and she vastly benefited from doing so. but it's about her competing on Dancing with the Stars. It's about her being treated like a celebrity.
And with someone who stole so much money from other people.
I don't care about the rich. No, I know.
You know,
I know.
I don't understand why she gets to stay. I don't understand
because she's pretty. That's why.
Well, that's a little bit of a piss off.
But that's
I have
the
to tell
reason.
you. And you know, I like pretty people too. But I
no,
gotta say,
Joy, it's not just because she's pretty. Okay, will you fucking call it out for what it is?
Hey, I'm listening to people bitch about what's going on at the border.
Yes.
And I listen to people bitch about all these people who shouldn't be here. Well, what the hell, man? If you're gonna,
She had to get permission.
how does this work?
It's not fair.
And to be clear, I am going to watch it, but
You are?
Oh, I love Dance with the Stars.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like
Okay,
a train
girl,
wreck you're
thanks.
watching, I guess.
Thanks for your input. At the end of night, it's
In a way,
at the
and
end
it's
of day,
you know
it's
we got to
night.
support the network. I get all of that, but this.
Do you?
This is a in the face of a lot of people who've been trying to make their way back to this country.
They've had other
families
felons on.
torn
Teresa
apart.
Giudice, she was on. Lil Kim and Tommy Chung.
I
All
know.
felons, apparently.
Understood, but
So
not
maybe your
wearing an
show's
ankle
like,
bracelet.
I'm telling you,
We'll be right
there's
back.
a lineup waiting.
Okay. Great. So anyway, she was eliminated. She was a first round elimination from Dancing with the Stars, so very short lived. And she talked to NBC News about the backlash she endured over her casting and the wild way she exited the competition. I feel that the show so obviously used me to drive up the ratings. Yeah, no shit. Duh. And they never had any plans to give me any chance to grow and only cared about exploiting me for attention. Yeah. No shit. That's 1 + 1 = 2. It was predatory of them to try to make me feel inadequate and stupid, all while I did get progressively better, yet they chose to disregard that. I don't feel bad for her, I'm just going to say, but also this is a condemnation on NBC and on the industry in general, where, yeah, all they give a shit about is a flashy headline, is ratings. So them bringing in Anna Delvey because they're like, haha, that'll be funny, that'll get people to watch, we're gonna we're gonna lean into the ankle monitor aspect, have that all blinged out and on display to condom NBC. Representatives for Dancing with the Stars did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Thursday. Sorkin was convicted in 2019 of duping friends and financial institutions out of hundreds of thousands of dollars while masquerading as a German heiress. Nobody looked into her at all. I just have to say, Google is available. Okay? All right. Google is available. Always Google, people. Just don't take people at their word. This month, amid her ongoing immigration case for overstaying her visa, ABC announced that Sorkin would be among the 13 pop culture figures to participate in the dance show, alongside actress Tori Spelling and U.S. Olympians Iona Maher and Steven Nedorosik. Oh, okay. Okay. For a second there, I was like, I'm sorry. You mean this better not be the Steven who is the Dutch rapist, the volleyball player guy. That's the pommel horse guy. Yes. Okay. I remember him now. The thing is, though, I would not put it above ABC. Or sorry, I think I said NBC before. I would not put it above ABC to do something like that. On Tuesday night, Sorkin and Spelling were eliminated after Sorkin performed a quick-step routine with her partner, Ezra Sosa. Her court-issued an ankle monitor in full view. The week prior, she performed a cha-cha dance. Okay, I don't really give a shit. It felt like I was never really given a fair chance by the viewers or some of the judges given their nonsensical scoring. It's supposed to be a dance competition, not a popularity contest. Maybe you're just bad. Afterward, the show's co-host Julianne Hough asked what Sorkin would take away from the experience. So that's this moment. And there's a lot of people who are slay queening her.
What are you going to take away from this competition?
Nothing.
There you have it. What are you going to take away from this?
Which, if, you know, yeah, that's a... It's a funny answer, but this is not something where like, oh, you got to hand it to Anna Delvey, you know, because it's Anna Delvey who's saying this. Like, this is, I do not think that she, I don't think this is a, you gotta, you know, you gotta hand it to this queen. We have to continue to admire and worship Anna Delvey because you just can't help it. And that was a big problem with Inventing Anna, the show, is that it totally glamorized her. It made her seem like, you know, really she's kind of a boss bitch. She's a business lady. It's not like she just lost her job and is now at risk of being deported. Yeah, I just have no sympathy for her. Sorkin's onstage quip, along with her admission later that became favorite part of the show, was getting eliminated. But I'm also not of the mindset of like, you should be grateful. Is that how you show your gratitude to ABC? No, fuck ABC as well. Her onstage quip, along with her admission later that her favorite part of the show was getting eliminated, has since become a viral meme and the latest talking point and criticism aimed at ABC for casting her in the first place. To join the show, which Sorkin admitted she was hesitant about, she had to get permission from ICE to compete in Los Angeles, far outside her 75-mile house arrest radius based in New York. Viewers immediately expressed outrage when ABC announced that the notorious ankle bracelet fashionista would appear on the show's 33rd season, demanding that work stop glorifying a felon. DWTS alum and choreographer Maxime Chermkovsky called her professional liar and mocked her dancing on a TMZ podcast. The View co-host Whoopi Goldberg lamented that Sorkin received special treatment from the government to compete. Sorkin was released from a New York prison in February 2021, but was detained weeks later by ICE for overstaying her visa. So why wasn't she just deported? Because I thought that's what we did in this country. I thought we were all about deporting. No? Okay, so sorry, I couldn't remember the timeline here, but she was in prison for like a year and a half, 2 years. Then she overstayed her visa, so she was back in prison for another 18 months. But then she was released on a $10,000 bond and put on house arrest. While she was originally housebound in her Manhattan apartment, she moved to the Hudson Valley in February to live with PR maven and business partner Kelly Cutrone. The terms of her house arrest were revised in August. Again, just another privilege that was afforded to her. And she was allowed back on social media before jetting off to Los Angeles this month. But her time in Hollywood hasn't been smooth sailing. She said the backlash over her casting made her realize how easily people will judge you without getting to know you or the true facts of your story. No, girl, I don't think that's what it is. The show's showrunner, Conrad Green, defended her casting earlier this month, saying Anna is fascinating to a lot of people, so I think there's an inherent curiosity about her. She's a very valid and interesting part of that cast. Yes, she's had the issues she's had, but we've had other people on the show who've had criminal issues in the past. And here's the thing, too. Is she fascinating on her own merit? Or is she fascinating because of the swirl of media attention around her, because we in this country love scammers, and we especially love scammers when they are white and attractive, like an Anna Delvey. And so is it really just that on her own she's that fascinating of a person, or is it that because of because of how much we are enamored with anything to do with the mega rich, with celebrity culture, with with these scamming stories, that she was hyper glamorized. And I mean, y'all, if you just type in Anna Delvey into YouTube, there's so much that pops up. Anyway, anywho, it's just, it felt especially egregious because she was competing on Dancing with the Stars, like the day that Marcus Williams was executed by the state. And every time you just see a stark reminder of the different criminal justice systems that we have. And hey, TT boy. And so it's hard to look at it as anything other than that. I never knew your burning hatred for Anna Delvey. That's what you take away from this? Can anybody in here is that really what I just gave off in the 30 minutes of talking about this? That the reason I'm covering this is because I specifically have a burning hatred for Anna Delvey. Did I not say that I'm not interested in like revisiting Anna Delvey's life and the crimes that she committed, and that's, it's not about that. Oh man, I love, especially when I try hard to have a nuanced conversation on something, and to to have a meaning to why I'm talking about the story that I'm talking about, to have like a bigger picture. And it's just whew. All I heard is I love Aquafina. I don't think it's directed at Anna Delvey so much as it's the contradictions how the public and our government bodies treat rich white criminals and immigrants versus poor black, brown, non-criminals. I may be wrong, but I think that's the point that it's about. Yeah, I mean, I get the meaning in the bigger picture. Okay, good. I hope so, because this really was not this really was not me going, I just hate Anna Delvey, so that's why I want to talk about her being on Dancing with the Stars, and it pissed me off because I hate Anna Delvey. That was not why I wanted to cover this. You are not standing up for all women. There's so many success stories that are even glorified. Just look at actors who've been coming in on 3-month tourist visas to look for fame, or how no one cares about Iggy Azalea, but God forbid someone trying to escape dire situations, inner poverty, looking to just make an honest living here. Yeah. And I think I feel especially sensitive about it these days because of how fucking far to the right both parties in this country are on immigration, and how much, the dehumanizing language and policies around poor people who are coming here because it's the best option for them, for their families, for their safety, for their economic opportunities, and just the way that we like demonize and dehumanize people who don't deserve that, and many of whom are like using their legal right to seek asylum in this country, and how we are responsible for so many we are responsible for so many of these people having to flee their countries in the first place. And so for us to turn around and treat them like criminals and and fearmonger and be just so vilely racist, and have that be acceptable now, not just on the right, but in the Democratic Party as well. And so it's just, it's glaringly obvious, the double standard that exists in this country when you compare like a Marcellus Williams to the fucking psychopaths who were like threatening the protesters with guns in St. Louis. When you compare Anna Delvey and, I got permission from ICE to go to Dancing with the Stars, to the families that have been brutalized and torn apart by ICE, to the women and children who have been, sexually abused by ICE agents, to migrants who have died in detention centers, who have died at the border. So, yeah. Y'all, this is what you get a lot of times with my pop culture coverage, where it's not just always surfacey, and there is a deep, a deeper meaning to why I want to cover something, and that often has to do with our politics and how this situation just highlights a lot of a lot of what we are talking about in our political conversations. Anywho. Anyway, okay, let's do some fun pop culture though, and let's watch my queen, SZA, who dressed up as a bug and went onto Hot Ones. Who's down? Who's down to watch Bug SZA on Hot Ones? And she dressed as a bug because she wanted to. Because she wanted to be a bug. And she was tired of not being a bug. It's very much giving Maya. It is. Okay, hold on one second, and then we'll watch this. Speed Razor, thank you so much for the 20 gifted subs. Thank you, dude. Hogan, thank you for the gifted to Double Standard, and to Joan Jett. And Twitch, thank you for the 4 additional subs. Alrighty. I'm tired of being me. Oh my God, I'm ready.
Spicy meal.
No.
Mm-hmm.
For like acid.
Do you know what I love? I love what a beautiful woman she is, and how fucking weird she is as well. Beautiful women also love to be weird. Okay, but I was reading something very funny, and apparently Sean had been trying to get The Rock to go onto Hot Ones, and his team was just they were being difficult, and finally there was a message relayed to Sean, and it was directly from The Rock himself, and he wanted to do salmon strips instead of chicken wings, or even, a lot of people come on and they do vegan wings, but he wanted salmon strips because of the calories. I don't know. He is such a diva. Isn't he rumored to be an asshole? Oh yeah, I did a whole I did a whole thing on The Rock when this crazy story came out about his behavior, and he's very much so a diva. He's an asshole. He kind of sucks. A lot of artists feel that if they're not suffering, then they're not producing real art, because of this notion that suffering is inseparable from art. It's kind of like the tortured genius label that abusive men will get, where it's like, oh, but he's a tortured genius, so that's why he's an abusive piece of shit. Yeah, it's romanticizing suffering totally. And yeah, I mean, it's suffering for your art. It's suffering because that's what's expected in the industry, where it shouldn't it shouldn't be easy, because it means that you're not doing it right.
But sometimes with hot ones, I'll get annoyed because I'll be like,
It's like how Cutie and Will always will say, or they believe that if they were not deeply depressed individuals, that they wouldn't be as funny. Like, both of them genuinely think that if they did not suffer from depression, that they would not they would not be as skilled in the art of comedy as they are. And there's, that I would say that that's not an outlier of a belief, that if you have mental illness, that it can serve you well in your art because of the suffering that accompanies mental illness. And I am not somebody who has depression, so it's kind of it's hard to know, like, well, how would I be if I had depression? Like, what would my art be if I had depression? But I always kind of try to push back on that idea that if you didn't have depression, then you would no longer be funny. And I think certainly having depression for those two has led to a certain style in their comedy, especially with Cutie. But okay, flex. Sorry, y'all. I just flexed there. But I don't know. I just want to push back on that belief that if you are an artist, that one, your mental illness serves your art, because I think for some people it can lead to them not seeking treatment, not seeking help. I'm not saying that's true with Cutie or Will, certainly not with Cutie, but for others that may be the case. And also that you shouldn't have to like, it's, having depression is not what makes you an artist, or is not what what makes you a funny person. I think it can inform your comedy, but I think that's something that would still, would still be there. And I think you look no further than comedians, or people who are funny, who don't have crippling depression. I've been diagnosed with chronic major depression for 20 years. I think depression allows me some insights for the basis of certain dark humor, but I would argue strenuously that despite that, I'm much better at jokes and being funny when I'm on my meds. See, there you go.
Episode's underrated. You know, this should have way more views than it has. You know, sometimes I feel that way.
Does someone with depression used to think that too, because it gives some kind of reason as to why, because there being no reason is hard. Yeah, I understand that. It's like a justification for having to suffer from something like depression, where you're like, okay, well, I'm a better artist for it, or I'm funnier. I'm funnier because I'm so goddamn depressed.
Say that because now you make me feel like we gotta.
But I don't think that's what SZA's talking about here. I was just making I was just kind of branching off. I was making a tangential point. I think she's talking about suffering for the effort of creating her art, where she feels like she's not making the best art possible. Her and I always love listening to SZA. I think she actually has often very profound takes, and she's funny as fuck. And I also keep laughing when I have the realization again that she's dressed as a buff. This is what I mean, where she will say something profound. Just like that. I just relate to that so hard, where I also know that I was born to be an open book. I have never not spoken my mind, given my opinion, said how I, said what I think. But yeah, the internet makes that hard. Easy because, you have mass communication available at our fingertips, but hard because of how psycho people are online. And now I'm in a job where, on the one hand, I've benefited from being an open book, saying what I think. And on the other hand, I'm like, damn, some days I'm like, what if I just didn't give any takes today? What if I just didn't give a single opinion? And I don't know if I can. I thought he was saying sister. I was like, oh, Sean, no. Oh, no, Sean. The most that someone's tried to analyze Sean. Everyone was like, they should probably just stop now for the Conan episode. This is one of my favorite episodes. I loved this episode. I think Conan was obviously one of the best episodes because it's Conan and he was a madman. You are exhausted by the time that episode finishes. This was a totally different energy because SZA is a very different energy from Conan, but this is probably one of my faves too. Conan's was more of a performance than an interview. Yeah, true. True. Gosh, I love SZA so much. She's someone who I have become more of a fan of over the last year, and now everything that I see her in, I'm like, I love you, SZA. I love you, SZA.
Why is it so hard to accept the party is over?
And she's so good.
You came with your new friends and her mom jeans and her new Vans, and she's perfect and I hate it. Oh, so glad you made it. I'm so glad you could come back.
Love her voice.
Somebody get the tacos. Somebody spark the blood. Let's start the narcos off at episode 1. Bring the gin, got the juice. Bring the sin, got that too. Won't you shut up? No, you're my favorite. Am I warm enough for you outside, baby? There's women up here for you. Warm enough for you inside me.
Okay, what's my favorite song? I really love All the Stars. Really love All the Stars.
I get so lonely, I forget what I'm worth. We get so lonely, we pretend that this works. I'm so ashamed of myself, think I need help with
Paisley, thank you for the 24 months.
Sorry, I'm not more attractive. I'm sorry, I'm not more ladylike. I'm sorry, I don't shave my legs at night. I'm sorry, I'm not your baby mama.
Y'all, I am actually, I think I'm gonna do an early stream there. A shorter stream for me. Cause I wanna go watch The Substance in theaters. So I think He Who Shall Not Be Named. He Who Shall Not Be Named and I are going to go watch it. I'm really excited. And there's a 10:30, so I gotta go. No. This is the, it's my birthday weekend, so anything I want to do, He Who Shall Not Be Named is like very gung-ho on. It's like, it's your birthday, whatever you want to do. I said, I think I want to go see Substance in theaters because I don't know if I'll have time this weekend and I don't want it to leave theaters before I have time to see it. Okay, but dream bigger? Are you kidding me? This is you ask me what's something you want to do. A popcorn, a pop, a body horror film by a great female director. That's my shit. I can't think of something else. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, I will def give y'all my thoughts tomorrow when I'm on stream. So, anywho, sorry for the short one. I think it was still a good one though. And I am going to let's see who's live. I'm gonna send you guys to Wake Wilder. The Wake Wilder. Will there be gaming tomorrow? Yes, gaming will be back tomorrow. It's Friday night. We gotta do some gaming. We gotta. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for all the thank you for the conversation. Thank you for the subs. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you tomorrow. And I hope that you come back for more. I always hope you come back for more. And if you have any complaints, you can take it up with HR. So, we have that available for you. Anyway, peace and love. Yeah, Cheryl is the head of HR, in case you didn't know. It's Cheryl. So ask Cheryl about any problems that you have, and Cheryl will surely fix your problems. Okay, everyone. Good night. See you tomorrow. Why is this not stopping?